Welcome everyone to today's stream. Hope you had a nice day so far. Let's play some Guild Wars 2. There we go. Found the right button. Start with some fractals. So if you're wondering what the title is meaning, I will probably explain it over the course of the stream quite a lot. It refers to that I will do a giveaway on my YouTube channel because I am about to reach 5k subs, which is a big milestone of mine. And I want to celebrate that, and I want to give away something to my subscribers. And this will be 2k gold. So if you want to check it out, be sure to go to my YouTube channel, and I will release a video about it as soon as we reach the 5k subs. So, as always, if you have any questions, any feedback, please let me know. Other than that, we will enjoy some Guild Wars 2 gameplay, I hope. Yeah, let's see if we can find us some people. Apparently, it's we are still looking for 2 DPS for our subgroup, for our party, for some fractal CM gaming. After all, I need to get some gold, you know, for the giveaway. No, I'm joking. I have already some gold, but you never know. In the future, there might be more giveaways coming, so always on the lookout for getting some more gold in Guild Wars 2. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, the job market currently is really bad. I have to be honest. I feel like currently it's horrible. If you don't have a job and you are looking for one, I think you have so many, just competitors currently that also are looking for a job, and there are just so many companies that are not hiring anymore because there are so little amount of money to be made currently. It's really bad. So I feel like if you don't have a job, you are in a bad place. And hopefully, I really hope that you get lucky and find one, but it might take some time. That's the sad truth. You know, you can't expect to find a job in the next month. That's just, you would be very lucky, and I hope so. But I feel like it's currently it's really bad. It's really sad, actually. It's really sad. I wanted to say thank you for the Guardian DH Hammer build you uploaded 4 days ago. I'm having a blast with it. Perfect. I mean, that's why I uploaded. So glad you like it. Yeah, it's a really cool build. I feel like it's not a lot of people actually know about it. And I feel like especially for people that don't want to have a really high APM build, this is very nice one. So glad you like it. Yes, yes, yes. Can I ask if one wants to focus on one single class for all content with 95% PvE content? From soloing champs to just endgame PvE, which medium class do you think fits the best? I would say it's Ranger. It's probably Ranger. Untamed is extremely strong. You could even go for only Untamed, I would say. It's absolutely insane how good it is currently in all game modes. And I have a tier list where I debate that for 40 minutes or something, what kind of class or which kind of lead spec is really good overall. So it's an overall tier list. Just check it out on my YouTube channel. Look for overall tier list, and there are actually multiple ones, and the last one is probably the most accurate one, of course, and there is Ranger on top. It's just so good right now. So I would go for Ranger, with probably the second best would be Engineer for sure. Thief is sadly not in that spot. So if you're a Thief enjoyer, I have to be honest, Thief is sadly not as good as you would expect. Thief is very nice in what it wants to do as a DPS, but it's not very good when it comes to flexibility and overall performance. So keep that in mind. So that would be my choice here. I would go for Ranger. If you don't like to have a pet, then you would probably go for Engineer. Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry. Sorry to hear that. Yeah. So let's play some fractals. Why, if you're wondering why I'm using such a weird setup for my utility skills, this is a very... Oh, did you hear that also something weird? Thanks for the tier 1. Really appreciate it. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks a lot for the sub. Hope you enjoy the content. So, welcome Echo Fox. Your sub got your raid got cancelled. I mean, happens. Then at least you have something to watch. Welcome Winslow. Welcome, welcome. So, if you're wondering why I'm using such a weird build, this is a specific build for this fractal, because in this fractal you have to split a lot, yeah. And oftentimes when you split a lot, you can't keep up the boons, yeah. Especially if you have worse boon supports that are not really perfectly capable of doing so. But this build is actually made for exactly that. So you can upkeep boons and you can extend the boons. So that's why this build is extremely strong. I will show to you why. Because you use your signet to be able to upkeep that on your allies. So the signet of inspiration is just extending the boons of your allies, and that's obviously extremely strong if you struggle with upkeeping the boons. So it's not only helping yourself to upkeep the boons that you provide, so in this case it would be quickness, but it's also helping my alacrity DPS, because they might also have problems upkeeping 100% because we split so much, and I can extend this boon as well. So it's really, really good, and you can see how nicely clean it is from the alacrity side and the quickness side, and also the other boons like protection and stuff. It's really easy. So welcome Sora. So Winslow, the giveaway is currently not happening, so it will happen as soon as I reach 5k subs on my YouTube channel. If my, let's say, prediction of that is true to some extent, it will happen this week, probably tomorrow or the day after that, and I will do a giveaway as soon as that happens. I don't want to be, too early about that, and I will want to do a giveaway on my YouTube channel. It will be 2k gold, split into 4 people of winners. So there will be 4 winners. Each of them will receive 500 gold, and I will do a video announcing it as soon as it happens. So be sure to subscribe for that. Yes, but I will of course also announce it on my Twitch stream, and it will not be something that you don't have to be there on this day when it happens. You have 7 days after this will start. You have 7 days to enter the giveaway. That's weird. Why can't I see this guy? It's such a weird fractal. Why can't I see this one? Shouldn't happen. Should not happen. Yeah, as always, if you have any other questions, please let me know. I'm always happy to answer. Of course, when I do some more concentrated gameplay, please bear with me if I can't answer the question instantly. I try my best, but it's not always, that easy, especially if you want to carry your group and don't want to wipe them. So keep that in mind. Caspi, like I said, the giveaway will happen probably tomorrow, the day after, and then it will go for 7 days. And it will be on my YouTube channel, because that's where I want to, celebrate, because that's where I reached 5k subs soon, I hope. And yeah, we will do the giveaway there. 2k. And of course, you can also win if you go to my YouTube channel. Sorry, I will answer your question in a second. Give me just a minute, not even, so that we can finally finish this weird fractal here. This is really weird here. You have to be really careful with the continuum split. If this guy comes back and gives the fear, the eye symbol to you, while you have ein continuum split, you have to be really careful that you don't get feared off. Kill, please. Kill. Very good. And I come back and we instantly get the phase again. Nice fractal. I had a question regarding Harbinger. I upped the Necromancy and would like to play that spec in open world. Do you think it's good, and which build do you think I should play? So, Harbinger, I would say, is one of the strongest DPS picks for open world. It is extremely strong. It has high amount of damage and really good self-buffing capabilities as well. However, because of the Shroud, so you have a Shroud that is sadly not providing you a damage reduction, you are a little bit squishy for Necromancer. So if you can deal with that, you will be golden. But if you struggle a bit with dodging attacks and stuff, then Harbinger is one of the hardest classes to play in terms of Necromancer elite specs for open world. It doesn't mean it's hard at all. It's just harder than Reaper and Scourge. Just saying. And I have a build guide on my YouTube channel about how to play Harbinger in open world, so you can check that out as well. But in general, just play a raid build and you will be fine for most of the time. If you want to play a little bit safer, you can play a tankier open world build as well. But for the most part, it's not necessary, I would say. But I think it's a good choice. There are way worse classes for open world than Harbinger. I think Harbinger is in the upper third, for sure, in my opinion at least. Yeah, thanks for the congratulations, Caspi. I mean, I'm really happy about it. It's something that I've worked for months to get my YouTube channel and get some more subscribers, get some content out for you guys. And I think it paid off the hard work. So I'm happy about that. And that's why I want to give you something back for your support. Welcome, C4. Yeah, glad you enjoyed the Revenant build, Viva. It's a nice one. I agree. I think it's one of the best ones that I came up with in the last few days or months for sure. It's a really cool one. Very nice. And now I have to remember to swap back to my traits. This is the important part here, that you don't use that trait when you want to get some healing going. Coming from Elementalist and I want something fun to play but tougher, I will check your guide. Yeah. I think Elementalist is squishier in any cases than Necromancer. That's just how it's designed. Elementalist is a light armor class with low health pool, and Necromancer is a light armor class with high health pool. So that means, of course, you will be probably better off anyway. But Harbinger is definitely closer to Elementalist than a lot of other Necromancer specs. That much is for sure. So we need we need CC, and that's it. Are you Boon DPS or Boon Heal in this group? I'm Boon Heal. I'm playing Quickness Heal. Yes, Quickness Heal. That's what I'm playing. And I think this guy just died. That's why he's lower in the Arc DPS meter. But he has more. He has 14k DPS, so it should be the Alacrity DPS. He's playing the Alacrity DPS Mechanist, which I will have a build guide, I think, somewhere this week. So if you're interested in that, also coming soon. Yeah, so typically that's a weird part. If someone dies, you will see them here because they might have less DPS because the fight goes on for another minute, 2 minutes or so. Yeah. Okay. And here, this is why I typically play actually heal in this fract, or in most fractals actually nowadays, if my group is not that experienced, because I feel like as a healer in this fractal, if you don't know what you're doing, it's horrible. And I really want to provide enough healing for my group that they can ignore all the mechanics. And that's only happening if you 100% sure that your healer knows what they are doing. Especially in the split phase. In the water split phase, this is really annoying. So, and you can see the boon up time it's insane. Just pair it with a mechanist, pair it with whatever DPS that has decent boon up time. It's crazy how much boons you actually get. I mean, the CC in this group is a little bit lackluster, but for now it's good. I hope they will adjust it in a few phases, because we need CC from everybody. Yeah, but as always, if you have any questions, feedback, let me know. And I also have a question for you guys, because I was wondering, you know, I'm playing Guild Wars 2 because I'm a content creator. I have fun making content for you. But what kind of goals do you have in Guild Wars 2? Why do you play Guild Wars 2? Of course, it's for the fun. Oops. Of course, it's for the fun. Don't do that, what I just did. Wait until the meteor dropped and don't scare your group. So, what is your goal in Guild Wars 2? So, is it going for the next flashy skin? Is it going for, I don't know, getting better at PvP or World versus World, or just in general getting better at the game, or I don't know, reaching a certain amount of account achievement points or whatever? What is your goal in Guild Wars 2? Because for me, it's always important to understand what my audience is actually interested in, what kind of goals they have, and how I can maybe provide some interesting entertainment to them. Yeah. So it's really, I'm really interested in your takes and what you are actually working on currently. It doesn't have to be a really crazy long-term goal, like let's say you want to achieve 50k HP, 50k AP, and you currently have 10k. Yes, that will take years. Yeah, that is true. But I'm talking about goals that you might be currently struggling on. So maybe you want to go for Vision, or you want to go for, I don't know, the 250 PvP rank title or something like that. So let me know. I think I'm always interested. Apply Conti Necro. Now Reaper, I use chilling skills to apply bleeding on them. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Yeah, that's how you do it. Yeah, exactly. You play it as a Conti Reaper. That's perfectly viable in all game modes, mostly in PvE and PvP. In World versus World it works as well, but mostly only for roaming, I would say. Yeah. Unlocking max mastery, yeah, that makes sense. That's something definitely that a lot of people, especially if you start out the game, should probably do. Max mastery, if you're a PvE player, is definitely something that you want to do at some point. Definitely, yeah. And then it's mostly legendaries. Yeah, I guess that's probably the goal that a lot of people actually are interested in. Just unlocking more legendaries, more crazy cool skins, maybe the convenience of legendary items, maybe even increasing your bank, your bag slots and that kind of stuff if you're interested in that. Maybe you are like me and you just want to have more clean inventories and just increase the amount of, I don't know, storage space you have. Maybe you are like me, probably not, but still. Yeah, very clean. As a late starter, I work for Legendary Armor so I can finally enjoy the game and try builds. Yes, I think that's nowadays, I would agree, it's probably one of the best things to get is just Legendary Armor and probably Legendary Trinkets to try out different builds. I think that's so insane how much convenience you get by having Legendary Armor, especially for all the classes. If you play all the classes, it's insane. It's really, really good. I like to have that. Of course, I try a lot of different builds. I build craft a lot of builds. So yes, I definitely want to see that. But even as a player that only plays 2 or 3 classes, I think going for Legendary Armor is definitely something that is worthwhile for sure. Yeah, so I can totally emphasize that. Yeah. I play to chill and I have no other MMO I play, even put away PoE 2. I mean, I think Guild Wars 2 is a very nice MMO if you play it as a side MMO, but you can easily play it, especially if you are not like playing it for a decade already. You can easily play Guild Wars 2 as a main game and you will have content for years to go, especially if you enjoy PvE and multiple different varieties of it in Guild Wars 2. I think there are so many cool things that you can discover and go for, definitely. So I can totally see why you would play Guild Wars 2 as your main game. But like I said, it's not a big problem for the most part. You can actually play it also just as a side game. There is no penalty in coming back every now and then to play Guild Wars 2 or just taking a break for 2 months or something. There is nothing, you know. You don't lose anything. You will always have the highest gear that you had before. So it's really, really crazy how just nice the game is to you as a casual player. So definitely, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Generation 2 legendaries are obviously something that is a little bit more, I wouldn't say annoying, but it's a little bit more grindy than other legendaries to go for, because you have to definitely put in more effort than just buying them from the TP. But I think it's worth it. I would say so, at least. Yeah, my group actually put in the effort and did some CC. That's very nice. We like it. Where's my mechanist, actually? Why are they so low? My goal once was to have all legendary weapons, but now they add gear. And I mean, I would say going for all legendary weapons is definitely a long-term goal that I would say is definitely fun to have, but it can be grindy. It can be so grindy. I mean, I have a lot of legendaries, but not even I have all of them. So yeah, I think it's a very long-term goal. So it takes a while. I mean, it's obviously not what my priority right now, but if it would be, it would take still months. So don't worry about it. If you have that goal, go for it, but it takes months and years to complete. It's a really cool goal, but it's not something that is done fast. Yeah. What to do to join for the giveaway? Yeah, so the giveaway will probably start tomorrow, the day after that, and I will release a YouTube video explaining how to join. So it's bound to reaching 5k subs on YouTube, which I currently am very close of getting, but I don't want to be started early. I just want to wait until I have this number, and then I will release a video about how to join the giveaway. So don't worry, you will see it when it pops up. "13 years passed since I started playing Guild Wars 2. I mean, it was really high when it came out. That's definitely. It's not the same game anymore. It's still a very fun game, but it's definitely completely different. That much is for sure. That much is for sure. Thanks for the follow, by the way, Brand. Really appreciate it. Why did we go in combat? Let's go. When sad, no one else CC'd, I had to use my double mower. It's fine. My goal is finally spending the time to figure out meta trains and when to port. Yeah, I mean, meta trains is definitely something that, especially if you want to min-max them, they can be quite fast, what you have to do, for sure. Yeah. And to start finding groups and not stuck in maps is full and end up killing random mobs. Yeah, that's definitely a big thing, figuring out how long it takes to actually get into the map that you want to be in, and that you don't get lost or just be left behind by the group. Definitely, that's definitely something that you should learn if you are doing it frequently, for sure. We lost our quickness, our alacrity rather. I'm a new player, so I want to make more store, bank, inventory space, and other quality of life things. Yeah, that's what I would also do for my personal, let's say, second account or something. That's what I would really do. I would probably go for multiple backslot increases, bank increases, and that kind of stuff, just because I want to have a clean inventory. And that's not everyone's type of content, that much is for sure. But I like to have multiple characters and just enjoy them in different types of content. I feel like that's definitely something that I really like. So I don't know. I think that's what I would go for. But I can see why different people would have different opinions on that, and some people enjoy having one character and don't want to upgrade their bank for any other reason. I think that's fine as well. Not a big problem, I would say. Can we get the CC? No, we can't. Oof. Okay. What's your stance on the current state of competitive modes? Ui, that's a question. Let me answer that a little bit in a it depends way. So first, I would say PvP can be really fun. So structured PvP can be really fun. But sadly, the time where there is a competitive scene of crazy hardcore players that really want to achieve some crazy victories and getting crazy titles and stuff, that's over. So if you're in there like a mobile player, something like that, and you want to get really crazy competitive experience, that's sadly not the case anymore. You just play for fun for the most part. You can try to improve, but it's not really, it's not like you will get a crazy competitive matches that are 10 crazy good people in there. It's more like you play a match, and if you are the really good person, then you will have maybe one counter good person in the enemy team, but that's about it. Yeah, there will be 8 noobs in the team for the most part, or in the match. So I don't know. Keep that in mind. Yeah. World vs. World, on the other hand, I would say is in a very good spot. I think World vs. World is quite active, at least if you're in a guild group and that kind of stuff, that much is for sure. If you are more in a, let's say, just a, yeah, open world style group, then maybe not that much, but still, I think there are a lot of people actually enjoying World vs. World right now. I feel like those 40k groups consist of 4 tryhard DPS that can't even hit 90% of the benchmark, and a healer slave that has to do most wound stability and all break bars. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's how it goes. You have one slave that does all the mechanics, and the others are just there and, you know, just get what the healer is actually providing. You know, they don't have to really be good at the game. They just can, I don't know, they will be fine anyway because the healer is carrying them, so to say. Of course, if the DPS is high, I'm happy, but if the DPS is not high, I mean, what can I do? I will carry them anyway. That's just how it goes. Yeah, shared inventory slots are definitely more worthwhile to get than the bank taps, but I think bank taps are still very worthwhile to get anyway. So for me personally, I like to have both, of course, at maximum. But if you don't have that, you will be fine. Oh no, I will be doomed. Yeah, so that's definitely fair. Gathering tools in the shared inventory slots are insane. Yeah. Cliff of Industry, yes, all of that good stuff. Definitely, I can agree. Yeah. Did I play Guild Wars 1? Actually not. Actually not. And I'm a little bit sad about that, but I was just too young when it came out. And to start it right now, I have to be honest, it would have been a really good time to start right now because of the 20-year anniversary. I know that. But I'm just very committed currently to create content for Guild Wars 2. And it takes a lot of time, if you don't believe me, about just to create content for Guild Wars 2. So I don't really have the time to start a new game and play it for, I don't know, hours a day. So I would really like to play Guild Wars 1 at some point, but I don't know if I really find the time for it. Yeah. I mean, the new World versus World, I think, I wouldn't say it's bad, but I think it's very matchup dependent. I had matchups where I would say it's actually insane how little was going on. And then I had matchups that are absolutely insane, where I always had a circ going on. And then I had matchups where we were just slaughtered, spawn camped. And then next matchup, we had just spawn camping the enemy team. So it's really dependent, I feel like, on what kind of group and guilds you actually are currently on your server. Which is, yeah, somewhat sad because you can't influence that for the most part, if you are not having a guild of or alliance of over 500 people. Let me check. I think I might go for stability anyway. We'll catch up on chat after a second. Give me a moment so we can get a nice pre-stack going. Okay. Yeah, this fight is... I really enjoy Arc. I think Arc is one of my favorite bosses. But sadly, you don't see any mechanics for the most part. You will just ignore them with stability and out DPS any phases and stuff, so that it doesn't really matter for the most part. Just ignore everything. Which is really sad because I really enjoy the design of this boss. Really, really sad. If I were you, I'd leave every group that doesn't get 35k plus DPS on most fights and block them. I mean, I'm not a toxic player, because if I would do that, I would probably not find a group anyway. I would probably have to, I don't know, go for some kind of static fractal group to find anyone that's actually interested in playing with me anymore, because I would probably ban or block 90% of the community, because, and that's I accept that, and that's why I don't do it, but I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, definitely. You don't like to carry people. I mean, I think it's fine. I mean, you have to start out somewhere, you know. So I guess that's fine. That's my advice to new people. What is good to have for in the infinite gathering tools is a must in the late game. I think you can actually play the game without the infinite gathering tools. It depends a bit on what you're actually doing. If you play a lot of world versus world or PvE open world, then you actually need it. But to play a lot of instance content, it's not that necessary for the most part, actually. Because if you play fractals and raids only, why would you need, or even PvP, why would you need gathering tools? So I think it's very dependent on what you actually play. But of course, if you play open world, if you play even world versus world, it's definitely a good thing to have, for sure. Yeah. Best PvP in Guild Wars 1, you mean? Very interesting. I mean, is it still alive? I think it feels like it's completely not worthwhile to play anymore. There are not that many people actually playing Guild Wars 1 PvE. And even in Guild Wars 2, there are not that many people playing anymore. Yeah, exactly. I totally get that, Aiding. Having the practical approach of having more space to store more stuff makes sense to have more fun in the game. I totally get that. I always like to have at least, let's say, 120, 150 slots in my inventory that are completely free on every character. That's why I have so many characters and so many back slots there. I totally get that. But I feel like not a lot of people actually are really interested in doing that, because most people have a really messed up inventory. At least if I see them on some screenshots or just some streams randomly. Welcome, Usus, welcome. I mean, the advertise is 40k, and that has to have a reason. Otherwise, there is no difference to most 10k groups. Yeah, I guess that's what you would expect. But typically, people that have 40k are just they want to have people that don't fail the mechanics. Typically, of course, you want to have people that are really crazy in DPS side as well, but they will typically not kick you if you have 5k, 10k less DPS than the top DPS on this party or something, yeah. But I totally get that. I would, if I'm playing support and I have permanent quickness, alacrity, and might uptime for them, and stability even, then I would like to have people that at least know what they are doing and get at least the benchmark or close to the benchmark in a fight where you can pre-stack, where you can get all of the crazy fractal stuff going, yeah. So yes, I would actually like that, but is it realistic? Sadly no. So that's why I don't expect it, and I will just be happy if they don't die to random mechanics. That's just okay. No one CC'd with me. I guess that's fine as well. That's what I meant. So a good group here would have just helped me CC. You know, I'm the only one that CC'd here. Okay, I guess we will leave it with that then. Because if you CC, you can skip the one-shot attack. Of course, we blocked it, but still, I don't know. Feels like it's even in higher KP groups, it's not very clear to a lot of people what they actually have to do to make this fight easy. Because sometimes it's the support that can make the fight easy, but oftentimes it's the whole group that makes the fight easy. And if they are all not really helping that much, then I mean, I can't carry them alone. Not everything, at least. Yeah, I mean, the breakbar damage of this group is really, they greed for DPS, and their DPS is actually not even that high. That's the sad part. But it's fine, you know. I don't want to be a toxic streamer. I think I'm happy that the group kills the stuff on first try. I have played with people 15k KP groups and stuff, and they just fucked up mechanics all the time. So I'm happy when I just get groups that are, where is my, yeah, it is. When I get groups that are just not dying. Maybe it's my support, that's because why they are not dying, but I like to have groups that at least know what they are doing. Yeah. Yeah, I think they are completely ignoring the breakbar CC skills, which is not a good thing. If you're a good player, you know what skills are actually doing breakbar damage, and sometimes it's actually in your rotation anyway, so it feels really weird that you don't have any breakbar damage here. But I guess that's what you get, you know. Sometimes you get a good group, sometimes you don't. I mean, this is not a bad group. It's just not the best one, definitely. Could you tell me how to catch bags bigger than 20 slots? So 20 slot bags you can easily buy from the TP. That much you know. But getting bags that are bigger than 20 slots, they are, first of all, they are soul or character bound. So you can't actually get them from the TP because they are really bound to your account. So you have to craft them yourself. How do you do that? There are some achievements to actually get higher bags than 20, but there are also, and that's the more interesting part, you can actually, for example, I can show you, if you have a lot of those lying around, I have a character full of this, no, not completely, but a lot of those lying around. If you can use those to craft 32 slot bags for quite cheap, or I wouldn't say quite cheap, for a little bit cheaper. But the problem is you need Rune of Holding. You need the Rune of Holding for that. And you need those Supreme Rune of Holding. And you need, I think, 20 of those. So you need, it costs 300 gold, 200 to 300 gold. So keep that in mind. Every single 32 slot bag costs that much, always. With the exception of achievement ones. So they are always quite expensive. And the recipes you can check on the wiki, but you can buy them from the vendors, from Leatherworker, for example. So you should be good there, but it requires a lot of investment in that sense. So keep that in mind. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. I feel like it's a very worthwhile thing to do for sure. So the giveaway will be started when I reach 5k subs on my YouTube channel, which will be very soon. So be on the lookout for the video that I release as soon as this happens. And then you will know how to participate. But it will be very easy. You just have to be a subscriber on my YouTube channel and you actually get the chance of winning by commenting on the video that I will release then. So don't worry too much. You will be in there. You have 7 days to enter the giveaway, so it's not... You have a big chance of winning, or at least a big chance of being and participating in the giveaway. Yeah. Let's say, I'm not completely sure how many people will participate, but of course we have 4 people that will win the giveaway, because we will split the prize pool into 4 parts. So that means your chances of winning are actually not that bad. So, and you don't have to do anything. So I think it's a quite nice giveaway. Just some, yeah, celebration event for reaching 5k subs on my YouTube channel. I think you get 132 slot back through the Aurora achievements. Yes, that might be true actually. Yeah. There are, like I said, there are actually achievements that give you 32 slot backs, but it's not reliable. If you want to get multiple characters with 32 slot backs, it's not gonna happen with achievements only. So you need at least some amount of investment of gold to get that going. Especially if you go for, let's say, multiple backslot expansions as well. That's just how it is. Yeah. No. Instant CC, I guess that's fine then. I solo CC'd this guy again. I mean, it's okay, I can do that as the support, but feels like the elect support should also provide at least a little bit of stability for my CCs, and that I don't have to really be absolutely, you know, on the verge of actually breaking it. And sometimes I don't even know if I'm completely safe with my skills that I used. Fine, we did it. What's your favorite class? My favorite class right now for PvE is Mesmer, because it's so versatile. It has a lot of it. You can play DPS, you can play Condi DPS, you can play support, like I'm just doing. You can play some hybrid builds, you can play really crazy good solo builds. So I feel like Mesmer for me in PvE is the best. I like it a lot. But for PvP and World vs. World, it's different. I play different classes. I play all the classes, so it's not something that I would say is the only class that I play is Mesmer. Definitely not. So I play Necromancer a lot and Revenant. Those two are probably my competitive classes, I would say, just because I like them so much from a design perspective. Mesmer is really fun as well in competitive modes, but I feel like it's somewhat squishy in a lot of situations, and especially when I'm streaming, I want to play something that is actually... I don't get punished too hard if I concentrate on actually talking with you. So in competitive modes, I often go for something that's a little bit less brutal. If I don't dodge an attack the second it actually hits me, I will die on a Mesmer. On, let's say, Revenant and Necromancer, it's not the case. No, there will be 4 winners with each 500 gold. So yes, we will have 4 winners in total, 500 gold, but not, let's say, one big giveaway, because you voted in the poll and a lot of people actually wanted multiple giveaways or multiple smaller giveaways, which is, I think, fine, makes sense. More people win. And I guess that's fine either way for me. Yeah, so that's how we did it. Yeah, Necromancer is really fun. I think it's a really cool class. It has a really cool design in Guild Wars 2, especially with the lead spec. I think the lead specs definitely have a really big impact on how Necromancer plays. So I would definitely say Necromancer is a really good designed class in Guild Wars 2. That much is for sure. I mean, I was I was thinking of going for more than 4 winners, but then I think for me, it's not as exciting if you win, if you just get 10 gold or something. And it's also very annoying for me to send it, because in Guild Wars 2 you have a mail cap. I don't know if you know about that, but you have a mail cap. So you can only send a mail, 2 mails every 2 minutes. Otherwise it gets suppressed. And that's just annoying, you know? So I don't want to send my gold out over the course of 2 hours or something. That sounds horrible. I would maybe do that on stream and talk to you, but still, that's not very fun to do. Yeah, so it's better to have some kind of big thing to win, and people would really be hyped if they win, than just having something that is actually, yeah, not that crazy exciting. Yeah. What's your favorite activity in the game? It's the same as with the classes, actually. I like to have different things going. So I would never play Guild Wars 2 with a single class. That's the same for the activities. As soon as I try hard PvP and say I only play PvP and I want to reach, let's say, leaderboard rank 10 or something, and I go really try hard, play 200 matches a month, yeah, maybe 200 matches a month or something, then I have to quit the game for a few days, because it's too much, you know, it's too crazy, it's too much in one direction. I like to play different things. So I like to play PvP. I like to do roaming. I actually also like to just play fractals, open world, raids, strike missions. There are almost every single content of Guild Wars 2 that is in the game that has some kind of nice repetition that you can do as a veteran. Not only story that you do once, but something that is a little bit more, you know, you can do every single day, maybe every single week. Then I do it, you know. That's what I like. I don't like to have content like story content, and I'm also not the biggest map exploration guy. I like doing map exploration once, but I would never do map exploration like Gift of Mastery and that kind of stuff every single day. That's horrible. I like to do stuff that is a little bit, you know, has changes in it and is not always exactly the same. And that's why I also play, for example, fractals, raids, strike missions, all of that stuff with different classes. So I just played the same content, but in a different color, so to say. And that is a lot of fun, in my opinion. Thanks for the follow, Real and Diltai. Really appreciate it. And Lalin. Laplin. Really appreciate that. So just, it's really hard for me to pick out a single thing in Guild Wars 2 that I enjoy the most. That is my main activity, so to say, because I swap around all the time, which is also what you see on my stream for the most part. I don't play a single game mode every single stream. I swap around and play different stuff. When there is a new update, I will play a different kind of content until I reach the fun level and I change to something different. Yeah, that's just how I enjoy playing Guild Wars 2. Yes, I'm giving away 2k gold. It will be on my YouTube channel as soon as I reach 5k subs. Should happen this week, probably very soon, maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after that. And there will be a YouTube video explaining how to participate. It will be going for 7 days, so don't worry. Just check out my YouTube channel in the next few days. And you will know what to do. Where can I find information about fractals? Yeah, fractals are, sadly, there was a really good website with the Discotize website, but sadly they don't really update it anymore. So when it comes to fractals, you just have to either play Snowcrow's raiding builds. For the most part, they work perfectly fine. And maybe just experiment yourself, or maybe just watch people that play a lot of fractals and are really good at it. Maybe let's say Kiyoshi, Shavi, those guys, they are really good. Ask them, because they played a really tryhard level. Linker, all of those guys I can recommend. Maybe just watch my stream, ask questions there if you have specific questions. But just ask the really good people and they will help you if they stream, and just check out their maybe YouTube content as well. But sadly, there is not a real website anymore that really can provide all the stuff, which is a really big problem, I feel like. And I hope that we will get more interest in fractals again as soon as we get a new update with the next fractals. Maybe we get a crazy good challenge mode or something. Really hope that will happen. We don't know anything yet, so might be complete horrible. Maybe might be not even coming out. We don't know anything about it yet, so yeah, that's just how it goes, I guess. But I can keep my hope up. Yeah. So have you any specific questions? Maybe I can answer them as well. I'm also quite experienced in fractals. But as always, if you have any questions, feedback, not only about fractals, about anything, just let me know. I'll try to answer them, of course, as well. And I feel like the biggest thing that I would recommend someone that is already engaging in some kind of social network like YouTube, like Twitch, is just watching high-end gamers play the game. You learn so much just by watching them. So if you like to watch PvP players, you will learn a lot, even if you not play yourself. And the same goes for fractals, goes for roaming. So keep that in mind and just try to watch what they are doing, what builds they are playing, what kind of stuff they are swapping around. And that will help you very, very much to just understand what you actually can do with a specific class, with a specific build. Your YouTube is really cool. I'm usually PvP only, but I've been getting into Guild Wars 2 PvE, so your videos helps a lot. Yeah, thanks. I mean, I'm really happy that you say that, because that's what I'm aiming for. I try to find people's problems and solve them with my videos. Yeah, and I really try to make very good videos, good quality content, and for veterans and new players alike. So yeah, very glad that you actually find them helpful. I learned that my damage is good enough for 40k groups. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if that's what you take away from my stream, I mean, that's definitely a true thing. Yeah, definitely. I mean, to be honest, if you, let's put it like this. I'm a decent support player. I wouldn't say I'm the best support, but I'm a decent support player. And to be honest, if you're in a group like what I'm currently in, let's say 15k or more kill proof for fractals, I would expect a support to have this amount of knowledge and this amount of just helping for your group and just amount of making it very easy. I feel like if you don't have a support like that, I feel like the group is not very good and you should not play with this group. I feel like if you kill bosses, how much time do you have to actually do the CMs if you want to get 15k HP? 15k kill proof, rather, I meant. So how much do you have to do it? Probably, I don't know, 200 times, even more. I don't want to do the math right now, but it feels like a lot. And I feel like if you play support for over 100 times on a boss, you should actually know how to do it. If you don't, I feel like you are doing something wrong. Yeah. So it's not me. I think it should be the standard, yeah, the new standard, to have a support like that in your group. And that's the same for the DPS, to be honest. I see they are struggling. I see it's probably not true, but I guess I can hope at least to find people that are actually doing some really crazy DPS in this kind of group. Yeah. 160k peep. 160, I mean, per day without 100. So 90 to 100 days. I mean, it's still a lot, of kills, you know. It means like, let's say 100 times every single boss. That's a lot. You know, you should actually know what you're doing, especially if you only play one class. I mean, I switch around supports, classes and stuff, so I might be a little bit worse than the average. But even if you swap around, you still have a lot of times to actually understand how a specific fight should work out if you swap to this specific setup of traits, of equipment, of even utility skills. You should know when to use it, when not. I don't know. I feel like it's... Maybe I'm a little bit, you know, too expecting too much of people, but I feel like it's definitely... It's not too hard, actually. I feel like Guild Wars 2, especially nowadays with the power creep, especially of supports, but also of DPS, it's very, very easy to actually achieve very high damage numbers or support numbers. I don't know. Problem always is starting out. Yes, the problem is the start. The start in Guild Wars 2 is really hard because you have to go to training groups, you have to find people that are like-minded, that will train with you, and probably at some point you will reach a level where you say, oh, the training groups are too bad for me, but if I join a group, or find, maybe even you don't even find a group, but if you find a group that is somewhat new as well, but not in a training anymore, it will maybe take even longer than a training, because it's just they expect too much from the group. So yes. Yeah, there we go. We did it. Yeah, I think the start, not only in fractals, also in raids and strike mission CMs and stuff, is always the hardest part. That's the good thing about PvP in World vs. World. You just can go in there and play it and you will have fun. In fractals, especially in fractal CMs, it's really hard actually to find a group that makes you want to continue playing fractals, because in the beginning it feels like unbeatable CMs because the groups are just very bad. And it takes a while to actually get enough CM kill proof, and that's a big problem, I feel like. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I'm at that start, and just getting into fractal is a bit scary. Don't know how to approach it, so I'm just kind of doing story and getting free ascended pieces. Yeah, the problem is that you also need ascended gear to go to a high fractal level, or fractal CMs. That's just how it is. And then you have to also learn how the game mode is actually played. So I feel like it's a big problem. I wouldn't say that the tier 4 fractals are a big problem. I think tier 4 fractals for the most part are okay. You can get into that. But if you want to go one step further and go for the fractal CMs as well, then you have a problem. I feel like fractal CMs are really, you either have some really crazy good group that actually knows how to do them very easily, or you have a very inexperienced group and you will probably not get the kills in a long run. So yeah, I feel like that's a big problem. If you want to get into fractal CMs, be sure to join my Discord. I try to post regular fractal CM trainings as well. If we find enough people for that, we would take you, of course, as well in. So keep that in mind if you want to do that. What is the Guild Wars 2 plugin that looks like 2 axes? That's called the Nexus. It's Nexus. Wait, I can close the other windows. And you can see it. It's Nexus. And I mostly use it for the fast loading, and also that it manages your add-ons. Yeah, so you can actually get all your add-ons in one spot, and it automatically updates arc DPS and that kind of stuff. And I mostly use it for the fast loading, so I can get into the map a little bit faster and save a bit of time, especially if you have multiple loading screens after one another. It's legal, and at least the main features that I use, so I can recommend it to people that are actually interested in it. Just join tier 1 fractals or mega group. Tier 1 doesn't even need healers or boons. Get to know the fractal mechanics. Yeah, that's a good tip. I would start slow and have fun in tier 1s, understand how the boss fights work. Just don't be scared about it, because they are very easy. You can actually solo them very easily, and if you have 4 other people with you, it should not be a problem, even if they are new as well. And you slowly increase the difficulty and go up the level, just how the fractals are supposed to be. And you will also get more ascended gear in the process, and you can slowly increase the knowledge about fractals as well, and you will be fine. And at some point you will reach tier 4 and you will be golden, because you will get your fractal loot every single day if you do that. Yeah. Yeah, I would also recommend you, like EchoFox points out here, slowly get up to tier 2. and then skip tier 3. Tier 3 is really, that's a big problem. It's one of the worst parts of fractals, because in tier 3, the difficulty jump is noticeable. Yeah, you have a noticeable difficulty jump. But the problem is the groups that are coming from tier 2 are not really that much better than in tier 2. Yeah, so that means typically you have people that are somewhat okay in fractals, going for harder content in fractals with tier 3, and you will have problems killing bosses there. So you would just continue doing tier 2s at some point until you find enough ascended gear and stuff and get your fractal level maybe up, I don't know, depends, and join a tier 4 group at some point. And then you will be good, because in tier 4 you have way better groups again. Yeah, so that's how you would do it. Welcome, Cloudofriend, welcome, welcome. So very good advice there by EchoFox. I can just second it. But as always, it's in Guild Wars 2, especially in PvE, nothing is really unreachable. You just have to put some effort in, and especially in fractals, I would say it's very worthwhile to get into fractals. It's very, very worthwhile, because it gives you so much loot. It gives you, if you're fast enough, it gives you over 50 gold an hour every single day. And just by doing fractals, and they're quite fun as well, I have to mention, then you get multiple legendaries a year for 1 hour a day that you might enjoy quite a bit as well. So I feel like it's a win-win-win situation, so to say. But of course, it depends, of course, what kind of player you are. Yeah, not everyone is actually... Ooh, I can play DPS. Very nice. Right. There we go. DPS. Okay, let's play power words. Welcome, Filthy. Welcome, welcome. What do you say from Fractal Loot? So, what do I say from Fractal Loot? Fractal Loot gives you, I would say, 3 things. It gives you account-bound stuff, like Ascended Gear, like skins, like those potions that I just put on my bank. Those potions here. This kind of stuff. You keep it, I would say. You can keep it or use it on a character, whatever. Then you get a lot of materials and stuff. You can either store them, like I do, in a material storage and sell them, or just store them until you need them for a legendary or something. And the last thing that I would do is the materials that you might need in the future, I would store them. Materials that you don't need at all, sell them. So it's always, you should always think about that. Last but not least, you get a lot of fractal inscription boxes and keys, and you would use those. So you would use 1 key to open 1 fractal encryption, and this will give you liquid gold by some kind of trophy. So I can open one. No, I can't. What? Oh, wait, give me a second. Can I? Okay, I did not know that. You can't open them here. Okay, I will open them when I get out of the instance. But you can open them and you get some kind of trash item, some trophy, and you can then sell it at the vendor for liquid gold. So that's what you would always do. Always sell this kind of trophies, because there are no other real value to them. So just sell them. Yes. Yes. Filthy. Filthy is the mod. Yes, that's correct. Welcome, Sochi. Welcome. I finally caught another stream. How are you? I'm doing good. Very good. How are you? No, don't worry. There will be the giveaway will be going probably for 7 days starting tomorrow, maybe. Something like that. You just have to check out my YouTube channel where I upload a video about how to participate in the giveaway. It's really easy. Don't worry. So, yes, that will be a good one. Let's go. Okay, I guess let's go. Where's my quickness? Oh, there we go. It's so sad if your opener doesn't have quickness. You feel like a slug. It's actually insane. Block the CC. Nice. And my quickness is gone again. That's why I don't like to play DPS. Why do you keep your pots if you have infinite ones? It's just annoying to sell them every time I get a single one. I sell them when I reach 250 of them, you know, then it's more time efficient, you know. It sounds like a weird thing to do, but I have the storage space to just store them until I have a stack of them, and then I'd sell the stack. That's always my thought process. I want to be efficient. Just double clicking something until I can't anymore and sell it, and then that's very fast. Of course, that makes only sense if you don't need storage space, but yeah, for me it's worth it. Welcome, Ken. Welcome. Since I'm new to PvE, I've been trying to save gold to get the Urine legendaries. I've been doing meta events to make gold, and it's been good. Any PvE stuff you recommend for lots of gold? So I have a video on my YouTube channel about my top 10 gold farms. I can recommend it to you. Just search on my YouTube channel for top 10 gold farms and you will find it. It typically mentions a lot of stuff that is either open world farming or instance farming like fractals and raids. If you want to get the most amount to do, for example, your daily and weekly stuff. If you don't know what I mean by this, you can check out another video of mine where I talk about all the daily stuff that you can do. And this is also very, very worthwhile, I would say. But of course, it requires you to play the game every single day for maximum income. If you don't want to have that and you want to have the option to play one day 24 hours and then the next 2 weeks not, that if that's more your jam, then I would recommend you to play probably some kind of open world farming like fishing and that kind of stuff, because you can do that infinitely and you will be having a lot of gold income from that. Yes. I rerolled a Reaper Necro. I'm using your sword spear build, loving it so far. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I think it's really good. I think sword is so fun and so mobile, and if you pair that with a spear, it's really cool. It fits Reaper so well. It's amazing. Yeah. I went and did Living World Season 3, Episode 1 to 3, and I'm grinding to unlock the Ascended items in those ones. Yes, that's definitely a very good choice. It's one of the easiest to get, actually. Yeah. Okay. Nice, we have some reflect. What? No, not really. With my work, it's kind of like when I'm off, I have so much time to just game like right now. But when I work, I can't really game at all. So all day, every day right now is perfect. Yeah, then I would recommend probably some kind of fishing if you enjoy some kind of relaxing stuff. If it's too boring for you, I would highly recommend open world meta events. Those are really fun. Or you can, of course, still do the daily stuff when you play, because why not? It's still the most rewarding thing for your time, but you can't farm it indefinitely. So fractals are very good, daily fractals. But maybe I will do a video about it very soon as well. You can actually farm, for example, my twin fractal at a lower scale, very, very efficient as well. So you just repeat the same instance over and over and over, and you get very high amount of gold, over 50 gold an hour if you have a fast group as well. But it's obviously a little bit of repetitive content as well. But if that's your jam, you can do it as well. So there are I would say almost anything in Guild Wars gives gold. You just have to know how to make it the most efficient way. Yeah, welcome, Beowulf. Yes, I'm German. I'm sorry for my pronunciation. I try my best. Yeah, but I feel like the most important part about Guild Wars 2 is if you want to get gold, there are two things actually that are really important that I have to mention every time when someone asks about how to make gold. The first thing is do something that you enjoy. Because if you do something that you enjoy for 10 hours, that gives you maybe 20 gold an hour. It's more worthwhile than to doing stuff that you don't enjoy for 2 hours, but it gives you 30 gold an hour. Because in the end, you will have less money because of that. Yeah. So keep that in mind. That's the very important part here. But the second part is almost more important. And what it's about is that if you want to make gold, you have to know how to save your gold. So if you want to make a legendary, you should try to only purchase stuff that you really, really need to purchase. Everything else you should not purchase, you know? So if you're going for a legendary, really go for the legendary. Don't go for anything else that requires gold. You have to wait, you know, you can't spend gold on this and that and this and that and still get the legendary. Yes, you might get it after 2 years, but if you really want to go for the legendary, You should wait for getting the legendary first and then go for something else. That's really, really important to actually see that and understand how this works. Saving money is the biggest part of making money. Sounds weird, but that's no stability. That's really, really important. Yeah, I can't stress that enough. Alles gut, Beowulf. I can see why you notice my language. It's not a big problem. It's not a big problem. I try to improve my English though. That's what I wanted to say. What is the point of doing T4 and fractal CMs? Are there some special rewards or just the same loot? So if you go for fractals T4, you get daily chests. So you get 3 of those per day. Yeah. If you go for the CMs as well, you get the CM loot on top of it. And oftentimes, like today, for example, today we had Shattered Observatory daily, and we will still get the rewards from the tier 4 fractal, while we also get at the same time, you get the rewards for the CM. So you get, so to say, double the rewards for doing the same stuff. So going for fractal CMs is very, very worthwhile on a lot of days. Some days it's still worth it, but it takes a little bit longer. But today, for example, it was really fast. And I would highly recommend you, if you have the capability and knowledge to do so, it's very worthwhile. That's very, very encouraging if the Canadian says my English is not that bad. So really nice. Thanks for the kind words. Which classes have been viable most often over the life of the game in PvP? Okay, let me think about that for a second, because that's a long time nowadays, you know. So I would say some classes are having ups and downs. So either they are broken or they are completely bad. That's typically with Mesmer and Engineer. Those two classes are really, really common of being either absolutely insane or not that good at all, because they are just hit and miss by the balance team. What other class is there that is very, very worthwhile to play all the time? I think Guardian is probably, has some kind of build, was always there. My healer, please. Healer. Let me kill this boss and I will think about it a little bit more. But what the fuck? I'm just dying to the aura tick, guys. So if you don't know, this boss has some kind of damaging aura if you don't light the lights, the candles or beacons there. And I just died to the aura tick here, you know, it's just... Okay, I got healed this time. Yeah, it's fine. I think we will get the kill here. So, I think Revenant was always somewhat good. And I think maybe Elementalist. I think it depends a bit, because at the beginning of the game there were not that many classes, or there were just 8 classes, yes, but there were not that many lead specs. So you really, if there was a build that was good, it was one class, you know, there was not a lot of choices. So for the most part, I would say probably Guardian was overall the best class, because you had support Guardian, it was really good all the time. You had some kind of burst Guardian, and in some kind shape or form, it was always some kind of DPS Guardian was viable, and some kind of support Guardian was viable. It's always like that for the most part. Yeah. That would be my answer probably. Do you know how Power Scrapper plays on 97 CM? Is it good? Yes, it's really good. I think it's really, really good, because it has crazy barrier access, and you have some good reflects as well with your hammer, so you can actually negate some mechanics if your support is not doing them. So keep that in mind. But of course, it's a really good DPS, because you get so much barrier. You always run around, so to say, with a health pool of 20k and 10k barrier on top, because you have so much barrier access on your own. So it's really, really good. Yeah. yeah, I think streaming in English is just the only thing that makes sense. So I can reach way more people like that. And that's what I want to do after all. I want to help people and be a just positive influence on the Guild Wars 2 community. Yeah. I would highly recommend playing Power Scrapper, Echo Fox. Yeah. I mean, it's actually not the power word. It's not the power word. I would achieve that on multiple DPS builds. You just have to play a power build. That's the thing. You have to play a power build. Condi builds are only working on some fights. That's the sad truth. If you can't get this with Condi builds, just try to play it with a power build and you will be good for the most part. Especially with the Spirit Nova skill of on Bone Skinner. But you see, even on this fight where I don't have the Spirit Nova skill for most of the fight, I will be quite good on the DPS side. Just because I know the mechanics, I play a power build, and if you know how to play the rotation of your power build and know the mechanics of a fight, you should be very, very good on the DPS side. And the same goes for raids and fractals as well. You just have to understand how the boss works, and then you just stick to your rotation and adapt it if necessary. That's obviously, it says way easier than performing like that. I know. But if you play that every single day for the course of a year, you should actually achieve those numbers as well, or even higher ones. It's not like I'm crazy good at the game. I'm just playing a lot. But my boons are also horrible, guys. Where's my alacrity? That's why I don't like to play DPS, because I feel like I'm always like, oh, my supports have to take care of me. I don't like that. I want to be the guy that actually is able to get all the boons, because I noticed in packs it's horrible, the uptime sometimes, and it feels just, it's not that hard, guys. It's really not. Getting full 100% uptime of your boons, it's not a big deal. You should be able to do that as a support. So always when I play DPS, I feel like, okay, most of my supports don't know how to do that. Maybe I should play support then. Hammer Willbender on PvP or World vs. World. I would say it's decent. I think it's not as good as it should be if you really want to play it as a crazy good build for roaming or even for PvP matches. But I think it's decent. It's a build that is consistent and it makes sense. But there are definitely better builds, especially on Willbender. I would say Willbender with Greatsword or Willbender with Spear is a little bit better for sure. So keep that in mind. But if you enjoy Hammer, go for it. Maybe go even for Core Guardian. Core Guardian is a little bit better suited for Hammer, which is weird, but that's just how it is. Yeah. Welcome, Siren. Welcome. Yes. I'm using Greatsword on my Power Virtuoso and like a fool instead of switching to Spear just because of range comfort. I mean, so I made a build guide about Power Virtuoso with instead of Spear, Greatsword very recently. I think it was 4 days ago or something on my YouTube channel. And if you want to see how that works out, just check out the video. But the short summary is you do maybe 3k less DPS than the Spear variant on average, which is not that much. It's not that much. So you should be fine for the most part, yeah. But it's definitely not as easy, yeah. I mean, it's always Guild Wars 2, especially in instance content, it's a team effort. You know, you can't say I will be carrying every single role. That's not possible. You only play on one account if you're not multi-boxing. Yeah. So I can't carry everything, and if I'm pucking, I accept that there will be people that are not as good as me. You know, I'm not even that high of a, let's say, crazy good player. I'm just better than the average player, I would say. And that leads to situations where I'm a little bit sad about my support. I accept that. If I wanted to have a tryhard group, I would probably have to do a guild run or some kind of statics run, and then that would be maybe different, yeah. It's fine. I play the game for fun. Of course, it would be more fun if I would actually get alacrity and quickness permanently, but that's just how it goes, I guess. Condi Chrono is used in fractals in CMs only. So you would use Condi Chrono with Staff and Scepter Torch on specifically Sanguar Peak and Silent Surf. Those two fractals in CMs are really good as a Condi Chrono. On all other fights, even CM fights, you would run a Power Chrono instead. That's the answer to this question. Staff Chrono or Staff Mirage is sadly not as good set. That's the truth. Yeah, I think the Mesmer Spear is one of the best weapons in the game. I think the design and the combo potential and stuff is so fun to play in PvE. In PvP, it's fine and very fun as well. Don't get me wrong. I just think it's overperforming. I like to play something that is actually very fun and no one else suffers because I play it. Yeah, so that's why I like to play it in PvE for the most part, because in PvP it feels like it's a little bit. It got nerfed. Don't get me wrong, it's still very good, but it's a little bit more balanced now. But still, I like to play the very nice fluid gameplay in PvE for the most part, where it's absolutely my favorite weapon. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. You don't have to get the spear. It's not like the build only works with spear. It works very well as well with the greatsword buffs, especially with greatsword. But spear is slightly better. I think it should be because it's also a melee weapon. Greatsword is a ranged weapon. So ranged weapons, in my opinion, should have lower DPS than melee weapons because you have higher uptime potentially. But I'm not sure if ArenaNet actually agrees with me on that, because there are some crazy broken builds that are using ranged builds, ranged weapons, and have still the same weapon for, let's say, top DPS as well. I think sometimes they just don't care, which is weird, but I guess that's their game. They can design it like they want to. But I would design it differently. I would say there should be a penalty of going for a ranged weapon, because you can do mechanics and still deal damage, while especially power weapon that is melee, you can't really do that. Yeah. I will not do a perma stealth Condi Thief build. That's one of the builds that I will never do, because that's so annoying that I don't want to see people actually play that. That's horrible. I don't want to face that in some kind of roaming action, because it's just toxic. I don't like that. I don't like that. How do I get more mastery points on Tyria? So mastery points, you have to go with achievements. So you would go for achievements, check, and you can set your filter in the achievement panel to only show achievements that give you mastery points, and you should find some that is actually worthwhile for you to do. I can show it after the cutscene. It's really, really good. If you want to, for no one to suffer in PvP, then you must not play it. Yeah, that's true. Maybe that's the answer. So you can set the filter here, and then you can add mastery point filter and set it to core mastery points, and you will only see the core masteries that you are missing. For me, it's only 3. So, and then you can remove it again if you want to. This is really, really helpful to see which kind of achievements you should go for. Typically, I would highly recommend going for the ones that are really easy, like just communicate with this specific, how is it called? Mastery point inside location or something on the map. Those are really, really easy. But typically, where am I? 3. Nice. Okay. This is what I would do. Autoloot is one of the first ones you have to get. That's so good. It's a very good choice. I would always go for that one as well. If I had a new account, this is the one you have to go for sure. Yeah. I love Condi Virtuoso, just spam buttons, no rotation, get easy DPS. Yes, Condi Virtuoso is one of the safest picks as well, because you have distortion. You have actually quite crazy good DPS for that you are fully ranged as well. But it got a little bit nerfed in that sense, because it's not as broken anymore. But I would still say it's one of the best picks if you're playing Condi build, because it's just so safe. And I feel like a lot of people underestimate how clean it is to play. I actually really enjoy playing Condivert in PvE as well, because it feels so spammy, you know. I enjoy sometimes playing a build where you can just face roll your keyboard and still have amazing DPS, and that's why Condivert actually comes into play. So, yeah. Conde Thief dancing on a corpse and whispering, thanks for your build guide. I'm not so sure if I want that. Maybe I have to do it then. That's maybe you're right. Maybe that's something that I really want to have. Maybe that's a dream of mine. Yeah. Maybe I should do it then. Do you recommend doing the map completion in order to be completed? I would say it depends. If you enjoy going for map completion, I would say map completion is something that's definitely worthwhile. It also shows you how to play the game, just shows you different locations and stuff. It also shows you mastery insights and stuff just on the side as well. But if you are annoyed by going for completion stuff, then you should go for something that is more enjoyable to you. It's not necessary to go for the map completion at all. It doesn't provide you anything in the beginning of the game. So I would say if you enjoy it, yes, definitely go for it. If you don't, you can skip it for now. Yeah. Oh no. I was not sure if I can entrust you with the secret information of the troll holosmith for World vs. World roaming. I hope you take it serious and don't share this very, very toxic build with anyone. What do you think I should do with my Wizard's points? I've been back for 8 days in terms of playing Guild Wars 2. I have 1,800 points. So you mean the Wizard's Vault points? For those, I would highly recommend to go for the... I mean, it depends. If you like to have cosmetics, I would go for the cosmetics. But if you don't want to go for cosmetics, or if you don't care about them for the most part, then I would go for the gold stuff that gives you the most amount of gold. Yeah. And the most amount of gold you get, for example, from gold, the liquid gold in there, but also the legendary starter kit. If you at some point want to do a legendary, that's one of the best things to go for. And mystic coins. Mystic coins, sadly there are not that many in there, but mystic coins are very, very worthwhile as well, as we pointed out in chat already. Yeah, definitely. Yes, very good. Not sharing the build, not sharing the build. I mean, Echo Fox, the thing is, going for a golem rotation and always trying to improve it is a very noble thing. But you always have to keep in mind that in raids, it's not only about yourself, but also about your team, about the mechanics that you have to do. All of that stuff can be quite important to your performance. So if you know that your group is very good, you can entrust them with CC, with the boons and stuff. If you don't know that, then you might have to take some CC skills and your DPS goes lower. You might have to do mechanics that you don't have to do in a very good group. So all that stuff comes into play, but I get why you would say it's really annoying to have almost only half of the DPS for a lot of fights of your benchmark. Yeah, that's obviously really annoying, but if you play it more often and don't get frustrated too easily, you should achieve way higher numbers as well. It's just a practice. I'm in the rock. Okay, very nice. Happens sometimes you're in the rock. So sometimes you just have to say, okay, this time I was not that good, but I will do it next week again and the week after, and just stay stuck with it and try to continue improving, and you will get there at some point. Don't worry. It's just always the knowledge, just the rotation and the muscle memory to make it very worthwhile. Keep that in mind. So do we do something else? I think we do something else as well. Yes. Temple of Febe. What advice would you recommend to unlock auto-lose fast for a returning player? So let me check. Mastery points. Can I show them the ones that I already have? So yeah, fractals are a lot of easy mastery points. Sadly, I never have had the problem, because that's the sad truth here. When mastery points for the core game came out, you could get them in the, let's say, retroactively. So I had a lot of achievements. I got my mastery points instantly, and I could unlock all the masteries when I reached the experience level. So I never did the grind for them. But you can check on the wiki, and it should be. And let me check what kinds of ones I would go for first. There are 83. Fractal ones give you a lot. I would go for the fractal ones. If you enjoy the story, you can go for the just completing the chapters of the story. Those ones are really easy. If you like story achievements in general, they give you a lot of mastery points. Silver Waste gives you actually a lot of mastery points. So those ones would be my top priority. Mastery Insights, of course, where you just go to a specific mastery point in the open world map. Okay, I can show you here. So just like with a hero point, you would just communicate with this thing and you will be fine. But there are only 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 of them, but still better than nothing. And then you get it from the fractals, you get another one. So you get quite a lot. There are way more than you actually need. So those would be my top 3. Go for the story, go for the fractals, and go for the mastery insights. Yeah. Yeah, diving mastery, true. That's also quite easy if you follow a video guide or something. That's also very good point. Yeah, I think the Silver Vest is my top thing to do because people actually do it for gold and you can easily just join them. And you will also get some gold, you know, just gold passively, why not? So this is what I would do, yeah. Yes, you can do all the stuff in Guild Wars 2 when you're level 80. There is no requirement for almost anything in the game for you to be a certain level. How did this guy die? Crazy. I thought this fight is actually impossible to die on. I don't know. There's no damage pressure until the last 10%. It's actually crazy. I think he just stood in the pedal here. Why is Willbender the coolest class of the game? I mean, that depends who you ask. If you play PvP and you don't play Willbender and you fight against it, not a lot of people would actually say it's the coolest class to fight. But it's very fun. It's just, I like the fast-pacedness of it. It's still a Guardian, but it's still very, very fast-paced. It feels like a Blue Thief for a lot of people. So I think people just enjoy the playstyle of it. And I think the biggest portion of the Guild Wars 2 community in terms of a fraction that plays a specific class is actually Guardian. So I think the most played class in Guild Wars 2 is Guardian. That's the statistics. So just based on that, we have a lot of people that might enjoy Guardian. And one of the fastest paced playstyles on Guardian is Willbender. So I guess that's where it comes from. Yeah. Have you done a Mesmer Condi build? Yes. I have quite a lot of Mesmer Condi builds actually. I have a Condi Mirage, Condi Chronomancer, and a Condi Chronomancer for roaming as well. I have not done a PvP build for Mesmer that is Condi based yet, because sadly that's not good. Short answer to that question. It's sadly in PvP you should not play Condi Mesmer. It's not bad. There is some Virtuoso builds that can work, or even some Chronomancer builds that can work, but it's not meta. That much is sadly true. I farm every day ore for wood and orichalcum. Later I quickly farm T5 mats there. I mean, makes sense. Sounds like a reasonable thing to do. Material farms are sadly not as good as they once were, but it's still a decent chunk of gold that you can get there. If you enjoy it, especially with the gathering stuff, the infinite ones, it's definitely worthwhile. Yeah. Did you watch the monthly AT? Yes, I did. Sadly, I feel like monthly ATs, this one was a little bit better, but I feel like monthly ATs the last year, they are sadly not as good as they once were. You know, the competition is just so low for the most part that you don't have this crazy amount of matches for a lot of times. It's just a sad truth, you know. And back in, let's say 5 years ago or something like that, we had 3 teams or even more that were able to win the monthly AT. It was way more fun and way closer to actually watch. Nowadays, it feels like there's always one winning team and that's always winning. It doesn't feel like it's very fun to watch for the most part. Sadly, very sadly. It was really fun to watch back then. Maybe it changes, but I doubt it. What's the best way to try and get ascended armor other than Wizard's Vault? Fractals are a very good way. Strike missions and raids can give you ascended armor. You can also buy them from there. Other than that, you can craft them if you really wanted to, but it's a big gold thing. I wouldn't recommend to do that. And what else? I have a guide about it on my YouTube channel. You can check it out. Just Ascended Gear Guide. If you look for it, I can also show you after this boss. And I explain every single method that you can actually get ascended weapons and armor from. That's obviously something that I would highly recommend to do and check out. Or they don't teach those tricks, using distortion to avoid using dodge. Yeah, I mean, that's very important. If you have stuff like blocks and that kind of stuff, you have more DPS by just not dodging, you know. Dodging is a DPS loss. So never dodge if you don't have to, you know. I have so many tools to actually evade. This is also an evade. My block is, so to say, an evade, this one here. Why would I want to use a dodge key? For a lot of strike missions, I never dodge because I have so many evades on this fight, especially because it's so well telegraphed when to dodge, when to use your blocks and stuff. And you can block almost anything in the game in PvE. Or evade it with those attacks as well. So yeah, that's really helpful. That's why Mesmer is so good in a lot of fights, especially in packs where you don't have to rely on your group. No, oh, no, yes, no. This is always the big thing. Can we get everyone to GG? No, it's impossible. It's one of the biggest mysteries of packing. You will never get it. You will never get it. That's fine. Yeah, I can send you the link if you want. Give me a second. Maybe you found it already. There we go. Here's the link. Yes, Envoy gives you a full set, that's true, but you have to go for that one, of course. Yeah, NA is even worse than EU. I mean, EU was okay, but it was definitely not as good as it once was. Still, you know, I feel like for me, for the most part, there have to be at least 2 teams that are somewhat competitive. If there's one, let's say, Uber team, then why would I watch it if there is almost no competition? You know, this one will win. And this is the case for NA since, I don't know, 2016. And no, not true. There was a time where Grimchap's team was also there, but still. And I don't know, for NA and EU nowadays, it's sadly there is almost nothing that is left that has some kind of competition against the really strong team that always wins. That's the sad truth, but what can I do, you know? I think that will not change in the future, sadly. Yeah. Wanted to drop you a direct thank you for your guide. Really appreciate it. Thanks. Really nice. Yeah, I try to make them concise, but still informative. So I hope that comes, that you value that as well. So glad you like it. Thanks for the kind words. Yes. For the first set, you need to do wings 1 to 4, I feel like. I'm pretty sure you need that for the Envoy armor. Yeah, actually you don't even need you only need wing 1 to 3. You don't even need wing 4. So I guess that's also very good. I mean, we can do the weekly full clear. Do you have a squad already? We can do the weekly full clear. If you have a squad, we can do it. Otherwise, I can also set one up. Let's see. What is daily? It's not that 1 week. I'm not sure if I want to set it up because that is also a little bit... maybe I can set one up. But I will not go for alt line squad. Alt line squad is really annoying. If I want to do that with pucks, I feel like pucks are always dying to that one. I don't know why. But maybe I am not sure. I normally should do that on Monday because I'm not sure if it fills right now. Let's see if we find someone. Maybe we find a group that is actually looking for that. Because the problem is I don't want to wait for 15 minutes to fill it up. It's not a good content for the stream. Just to wait for a group to fill. Yeah, Revenant is really good right now. Power Herald is extremely strong and Power Renegade is really good. So Renegade is absolutely obnoxious and also Power Herald is absolutely crazy. Condi Herald is also very good. So there are actually a lot of ways to make Herald really good. That's why you saw them so much in the current monthly AT on all regions actually. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. We can do it someone later this week. I will stream definitely at least 2 times, maybe even more this week, so we can actually do it on stream as well. Don't worry. If you're there, we can do it. Yeah, so I would say Herald, or I think Herald is very, very good right now in all game modes, especially in the competitive modes. It's just crazy how strong Herald is with the spear and also with Retribution. Retribution trade line is so overloaded. That's why you see so many Revenants running around. Because of this trade line. It's absolutely insane how much defense you get with dodges and you get resolution and a lot of damage, and it's absolutely crazy. So this is why you see so many Revenants. Just straight up because of Retribution. I think the next balance patch is definitely nerfing Retribution and then you will see less Revenants. That's how it's gonna be. So I think that's okay. I always, when I talk about balance, I think one of the things that the balance team has to do, in my opinion, especially in PvP, where you don't have any gear grind, you know, you can't start playing a character without even leveling it to level 80. So you can just say, I create a new character and try out a ranger for the first time and have perfect gear to play in PvP. Yeah. So in my opinion, because of that, they should make every 3 months, at least, there should be a balance patch. Yeah. And this balance patch should not only change some numbers. Yeah. This balance patch should change the meta completely, should shake it up really drastically. Yeah. So there should be, if currently Holosmith is not as good, then the next time Holosmith should be one of the best classes to play right now. It should be a meta pick. And then next, let's say 6 months after that, it should be nerfed down and another build would be viable. Let's say maybe Daredevil is really good or something. Yeah. So they should always make one class or one spec being the so to say the winner of this balance patch, and another class goes back down, so that you have some kind of meta shifts that keep people interested in playing the game mode, because that's what I feel like is keeping players interested in competitive modes. Playing something new, build crafting something, not always playing for 5 years straight the same build. The last few, let's say, balance patches changed how Willbender was. But before that, Willbender was meta in ranked for 2-3 years straight. The same build. No, that's not true. Ever since Spear came out, Spear Willbender was meta. Yeah. So that means 9 months or something, Spear Willbender was meta. And that's, I feel like, a long time, and they should make changes for that. And the same to some extent should, in my opinion, also be true for PvE. For PvE, however, it should look different, because that's very important. For PvE, you have people that grind gear. Yeah. So they go for full ascended berserker stats. And then there would be a balance patch that nerfs a specific build, and you need, for example, then you need some assassin pieces to actually crit cap. No, that should not be the case. They should only tune down the numbers. So for example, on one balance patch, there should be Tempest, DPS Tempest, 46k, 47k, I don't know. On the next balance patch, they tune this down to 44k, and Holosmith should be at 46k. But without changing the gear that is needed for that, just the numbers. I think that would be amazing, yeah? because then people would try out different builds, would have some incentives to go for different legendaries, even if they want to try out different classes, and just have fun on different things. That's what I think they should do. Yeah. But sadly, they typically have balance patches that just adjust the build that is currently the best build by pushing it down 1 to 3%, and it's still very good after that. And they do that multiple times over a course of a year until the build is not that good anymore and some other build comes up. But I feel like they should do more major drastic changes so that the meta is changing in a way that people clearly see, okay, next time we play Revenant, next time we play Warrior, yeah? And then everyone would be happy because they know in 3 months it will be another spec that will be really good. Now it feels like if a spec is really good, it will take a year to actually be good again or worse again, yeah? Okay, let's go for 101 here. It was an interesting... Okay, that's a dagger catalyst. I mean, maybe we can win this. Let's see. It's a tough matchup. Because they have a lot of passive damage. What? I didn't get my heal off. Ah, dagger. That's dagger catalyst. That's why it's S tier. It just kills you, even though this player is not even good. Sad. I tried my best. Thanks for the follow, by the way. Bird, Guild Wars 2 drop, Chaos, and Gypsy. Really appreciate it. Didn't mention it earlier, but thanks a lot. Can they do that with the new Chante Valls relics? That's a good point. I think they can, because to some extent the new core relics that they actually added are also somewhat decent in a lot of ways. They are quite niche, yes, but they can be decent as well. So I personally think they could make it work, especially because now Chante Valls is quite a while back. You know, it's almost a year out now. So I feel like, in my opinion, it should now be not only Chante Valls only. You know, you should have builds that are playable without Chante Valls and still be broken. Yeah, why not? You know, they already sold their expansions, and if people want to play the spear, they can still go for it. But they should tune it down, and the next expansion goes up with the power creep again. I don't know. That makes sense. But maybe they don't want that. I'm just a player. I'm not a dev. So maybe they have different opinions on that. That goes against the whole current concept of Guild Wars 2, that the build equipment you had 10 years, you came back and still viable. No, Keshi, I totally get it. But for me, that's what I actually said. It should only work like that in PvP. In World vs. World and PvE, it would be the same. So you don't have to swap your gear around. That's what I really want to emphasize here. It would be, you have to change the numbers of the DPS build. So that way you have a DPS build that is just a little bit worse than before, but another build is a little bit better, so people might go to a different class. But you wouldn't have to change your gear. You can still play the same build, but it will be a little bit less DPS. And I think that makes sense. But the sad part here is they never do that. It's more like they change a lot of stuff, and in the end, you typically also have to change your traits and sometimes even your gear around. And I feel like that's not really fun. Typically, it's better to have a build that is just going down in the damage numbers without actually changing your gear. I don't know. They could make that. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was hoping that they would do. Nerf stuff that is overperforming, buff stuff that is underperforming, but in a more major way, so that you actually clearly see, okay, Tempest is now not as good as him anymore, but we play a Holosmith now. But let's say a year from now, Holosmith will be the same again without the need to go for a fully different gear set. You can still play a year-long Holosmith, but you would have the option to change to a little bit different DPS build like Tempest, like maybe Power Reaper, that has 1 to 5% more DPS, yeah? But you don't have to swap your gear around. Just try out different classes so that people might just enjoy the game in its variety and not always stick to one class. Because I feel like if people would swap around classes way more often, we would, in the end, get way more people that play the game long term. Because if you just stick to one class, you will get bored at some point. If you play 9 classes and you play all the game modes, it's actually quite easy to play the game forever. until it's somewhat, you know, not there anymore, but still. That would be my take. When was the last time an Engineer Elite spec was actually good in PvP? Like Scrapper 2 years ago? Yes, Scrapper was the last time. Nowadays, they are actually buffing Holosmith, and I think Holosmith will be, if they keep up the pace, maybe in half a year or so, will be meta, but it will take a while. Yeah. And I feel like that's too slow. They should make changes at least half a year that change the meta. So Engineer will be meta now. And in 6 months, there will be, let's say, Warrior will be the meta. Yeah, something like that. I think that would be cool. That would be insane because you would swap stuff around. And it would not invalidate your gear because you can still play the class, at least in PvE. In PvP, maybe Warrior is not that good right now. But in 6 months, maybe it's very good. So I feel like, why not? But of course, that's coming from someone that enjoys playing every class. I know. There will be players that play only a few classes, and then they will be sad because their class is not in the best ones right now. So you have to make it in a way that there are always classes that are fun, and no class should be completely unplayable. But I'm talking about a specific, if you have, let's say, Engineer, for example. Engineer was not good in the last 2 years in PvP at all. Yeah. And that's not good. That should not be the case. There should be frequent changes to swing up the meta. That's why I'm advocating for at least 2 really big balance patches a year, maybe even every 3 months. I think that would be even better. The good PvP games do that on a monthly basis or something. And that would be cool. That would be really fun. There would be a lot of action going on. They won't do that. They can't, probably because of the restrictions in the terms of their human resources. But I guess, yeah, that's my take. Have you found a change in behavior or builds in World vs. Will when it's no downstate? I think people play very bursty. If you are somewhat a tryhard player, I saw a lot of power mirages played, but that might also be just because that's the sad part. I only see one matchup for the most part. Yeah, there will be only 1-2 matchups, and people play very bursty in this matchup. That doesn't mean there will be no good player in playing some kind of Condi, Celestial Harbinger or something. That's just in the current matchup. I see a lot of power builds run around because you can burst someone very hard with that. But maybe that's just me. Other than that, I would say it's very fun to play because it feels like if you die, you can respawn faster and you will not bleed out. But other than that, no real changes. I think I also play a lot because of the 100% rank buff. So you get 100% more experience. That's really fun. But, oh no. Yeah, that's what I would say. So there we see a power mirage with the sword, with a great sword actually. That's a little bit of an annoying matchup, I have to admit. Because he's power blocking all my stuff. Yeah, I can't win that. That's what I mean. For example, this build, I can't win against this because it's permanently ranged and interrupting my shit. If I play a crazy burst build that is ranged as well, I can win this. If I had, maybe it would, this guy would not play it if there would be no downstate. Maybe. Sad. I could have won that if I played better, but it's really tough with a melee build. Someone said 2k gold. Yes, there will be a 2k gold giveaway on my YouTube channel. Probably starting tomorrow. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. We will do 4 times 500 gold giveaway. Yes. The build was a power mirage with greatsword and spamming the ambush. It was just keeping its range for the most part and spamming the ambush. And it's really hard for me to get close enough to get actually kill pressure because they have so much invulnerability and dodges all the time. And they just, with Infinite Horizon, kill me from range as a power herald. Sad. It's really sad because I really enjoy power herald. but this is not the time apparently to actually fight it. Maybe I should go and swap to another build and play something that is also abusing the no down state. Would you say in competitive play, Asura and Char have the hardest to figure skill animations? Yes, I would say for skill animations, you should definitely go as far as you can go away from human animations, because the human animations are quite reasonable big. For Char, they are a little bit different. Even though they are big, they are a little bit different. So sometimes that can be hard. But definitely the hardest animations to figure out are Asura, straight up. Because Asura are just the smallest. So if I start to cast this skill, this skill, Abyssal Plot, it looks very small to actually see the animation. If I'm a double or triple the size character, this skill attack will be quite easy to dodge. If you are Asura, it will be hard. But luckily we have in competitive modes, we have the, where is it? Competitive standard enemy models, and you will see always humans. So if you enable those, you will always see those. So that will be good. Yes, welcome, welcome. It's Herald time for now. Maybe I swap around a bit. Maybe it's the time to play something different. Welcome, Nightly, welcome. Thanks for the follow, Expedite, by the way. Really appreciate it. Yeah, as always, if you have any questions, any feedback, please let me know. And like I said, there is a giveaway starting very soon on my YouTube channel, so don't worry, be sure to check it out. It will run for 7 days, starting probably tomorrow. And I will give away 4 times 500 gold. So be sure to check that out. And you can easily win because we are celebrating my 5K subs on YouTube. So don't miss that. Don't miss that. Thanks for the follow, Nightly. Really appreciate it too. So do you have any specific classes that you want to see me roaming with? Yes, I'm currently on Europe. I'm not playing on NA. And it also feels quite empty. There is not a lot of stuff going on. I wanted to get some roaming, some 101 kills. Heal Reaper? That sounds horrible for roaming. I mean, I was thinking about crafting a Reaper build, but heal would not be my choice. You can play some really obnoxious healing Minstrel Harbinger build with only relying on lifesteal. That can be really annoying. Maybe that's the way to counter the downstate. No downstate. But I feel like I would rather play something that is a little bit more action and not takes for 10 minutes to actually kill someone. Maybe I should go for some kind of elementalist. No, I'm actually not Russian. I'm German. I'm from Quarteria. Yeah, I mean, I play so much at this point. It could be. It could be. I mean, I have to be honest. Since I started YouTube and Twitch, I actually don't play that much anymore. I play way more over the last 10 years than I do now, actually, Guild Wars 2. So that's actually very interesting that starting content creation for Guild Wars 2 actually made me play less of Guild Wars 2. It's an interesting, let's say, development. And I think it's fine because I still know and enjoy the game, but I play the game way differently. I always try to make content. I want to have fun while playing some new classes and making content about them. So yeah, sometimes that's how it goes, I guess. Nah, it's the truth. I'm from Germany, and that's probably also why my accent is like it is. But I mean, it shouldn't really matter. It's the only thing why it matters is because I stream at the current time, which is obviously in my evening, and for my American friends, it's quite hard to stream at your prime time just because it's in the middle of night where I live. And I guess that's how it goes. I will stream right now and try to stream very often in the evening, so you might have the time to actually join on your afternoon or early evening as well. But for all the other people, I hope you, you enjoy my stream times as well. What's the secret to be able to do 2 maps in succession in a day for world completion? Too annoying. The secret is I would use some kind of Blish module. I really like to use the pathing module to actually really move very fast, which tells you, for example, to use your mounts to move to a specific location first and do the quests there. And another thing is you can actually buy some quest objectives from the TP. If you do that, you can skip a lot of annoying quests, and that will in the end lead maybe to something that is a little bit more interesting and faster than doing the really annoying quests that take forever to do. So I feel like if you follow a path that is really clearly fleshed out and you do them really fast, you can do maps in 15 minutes or something, and then you can easily do 2 per day. And I think the world record is something around 6 hours of the complete, or a little bit longer, of the map completion. So it should be, I don't know, should be okay. Can we get the kill? No, I guess not. He's too fast. It's actually insane. We have to focus the Mesmer, but I don't know. I mean, this is the one of the only builds where it's actually quite nice if I have more targets, because I actually get value from that. Nice, we killed him. Come on, let me move. It's impossible. There's so much CC. That's why there are S-tier builds like Untamed and Catalyst, and there is Herald. Herald is very fun to play, but as soon as you face a fair 101 with a Untamed or Catalyst, you struggle. Yeah, Taco is very easy. That's true. Yeah, Filthy really enjoys my evil voice. I'm sorry. I don't want to be evil. How is Ref versus Willbender? It's a skill matchup because you're both very bursty. So that means the one that gets the burst will probably win. But I would say Revenant is actually favored because you have more damage reduction passively. So you get damage reduction here and you have protection. And that's helping so much against the Willbender that you typically win it if you are similar skilled. Yeah. No, please don't say there isn't giveaway. There's currently no giveaway right now. Yeah. Yeah, when back in the old days, when there was only core classes, Minion Monster was actually a decent pick. But nowadays, I actually met one in rank today or in PvP, and I mean they died in 2 seconds. So it's not good. It's not good anymore. It's just the truth. Thanks, Eddie, for the follow. Really appreciate it. So there is currently no giveaway. That's why it's called giveaway soon. That's the title. It's not giveaway right now. So I will do a giveaway starting tomorrow, the day after that, on my YouTube channel. It will last for 7 days. So, and we will give away 4 times 500 gold. So be sure to check that out. I don't want to be mean. I just wanted to state the fact here. Yeah. And don't worry, there will be a giveaway. You will know about it if you check out my YouTube channel. And it's very easy to enter. And you have a good chance of winning a lot of cash. So it was 2 cash, of course. So yeah, should be good. I will also stream the next 2 days, so you should probably also know about it on my stream as well. I did not tell you how to win yet. Maybe that's how I want you to do it. Yeah. Of course, it will be quite fast for you to do. It's not something annoying like sending me some feed pics or something. No, it will not be the case. Don't worry. It's, after all, it's some kind of celebration for the subscribers. We reached almost 5k subs now, and at 5k I want to give you something back for supporting my journey as a content creator. Yes. Interesting, the German cosplay. I can imagine what it's gonna be. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it, I have to be honest. Yes, very good, very good. Thanks for the follow, final one. Really appreciate it. Hope you all enjoy the stream. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. That's good. If you were thinking about something else, that's good. Just very common that people would do something like that. Yeah. I don't know if we can get some... I feel like there are only 2 enemies on the map, which is, one of them is the Mirage and the other one is the Untamed from the same guild. So I feel like it's completely dead who's actually here. Maybe we have to switch maps and get some more action there. Feels like there's nothing going on. There's a fight, but I'm not sure if that's something that I can engage in. Maybe I have to try out a different build or something. Maybe I find more people with a different build. I don't know. Is Elementalist stuck playing DPS only in PvE? No. I would actually say the Elementalist shines on playing support. So you can play Support Tempest as a heal Alacrity build, or you can play Quickness Heal Catalyst, which is really, really underrated and really good. And you can also play Quickness Catalyst, which is also really, really good. I would say DPS Tempest or DPS Catalyst are also quite decent, but I think there are better builds right now. So it's a little bit... I think Elementalist is actually really, really good when it comes to supporting and being still offensive, while full offensive Tempest and Catalyst, I would say they are playable, but yeah, they feel a little bit lackluster compared to other specs like Untamed or even Soul Beast and the Age or something. Yeah. Could you recommend healer spec without the pet? I'm playing mech actually, and mech positioning makes me mad. Yes, that's why I don't play this. I really dislike Mechanist. I think Chronomancer. I would really recommend Chronomancer. You don't have the pet and you take, so to say, matters in your own hand, and you will be really happy, I would say, because it's currently one of the best, if not the best support in PvE. So that's what I would recommend. Scorch is also fine, but struggles a bit in fractals, but all the others those 2 should be fine. Yeah. Welcome, welcome. Is it true mech is broken again? Yes, it is. You can play a power rival mechanist with Alacrity, or you can play it without Alacrity, and it's absolutely broken in PvE. Because you, for the most part, you press 3 buttons and you have 40k DPS. So yeah, it's a pretty good build. And very easy to play. Fully ranged, so seems like it's broken again, yes. I also have a guide about it on my YouTube channel. I would say it's very straightforward to play. If you are a really try-hard player, I would say it's not the best build for you, because it's after all only 40k, whereas the really try-hard DPS builds reach 45k. But if you are somewhat casual in the game, if you don't reach 40k on any other build, this is the build for you. So keep that in mind. Yeah. So this is not a healing skill, Sato. This is detect vulnerabilities. So that means if I use this, I can see where there is some kind of damage done to the walls. So I can see, for example, that this wall has a little bit of damage, and that's why it showed on the minimap as a red spot. It's not a healing skill, it's more like a sniff for walls. That's what it is. Yeah. How is Druid in instant content? It's extremely strong in strike missions and raids. It's probably the best healer there because it's so flexible what it can do. In Fractals, it's a little bit worse. I would say it's actually quite a bit worse because it's just not as... It doesn't provide what you want to have in Fractals. In Fractals, you want to have stability and Aegis. Those two are absolutely broken there. And both of those Druids struggle a bit to actually provide. So that's why Druids are in Fractals not that common. But in Strikes and Fractals, Strikes and Raids rather, they are really, really good. So highly recommend you to play them there. Yes. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Can show you again. Zoom in on the minimap. You should see it then. And I can see 3 walls are actually attacked. Of course, this one is the most damaged one, but yeah. It's a nice thing. It's just a quality of life. It's not really game breaking or anything, but yeah. I mean, it helps to actually get to the action faster, I guess. I mean, they do some changes to World versus World, but I feel like the biggest change that I really think they should do is some kind of reward changes, that it matters that you win. I think this is the biggest change that would bring a lot of action into World versus World again, is that if you would make winning matter in terms of rewards. I think that's something that a lot of people would actually enjoy. But I don't know. I feel like that's something that I would say as a veteran. Maybe new players don't like that, but I feel like it's everyone would actually enjoy having something to go for in World versus World other than just capping and killing others. If you have some strategy behind it as well, I guess that would make sense. Yeah, some kind of extra reward for actually winning your guild war and not only saying I was there. Yeah, it doesn't matter if I was first or last place. Didn't change anything in the future anyway. So, but maybe it's just my take. Maybe people like the way it is. I personally think it's a little bit feels like, why should I care that we actually get points for capping Stonemist Castle? Does this change much? No, not really. So if Druid is not that good in Fractals, what is the best healer for this mode? I would say the best healer is Chronomancer and Heal Firebrand for Fractals. However, Heal Firebrand is only really good in Fractals if you know what you're doing. The same is obviously true for Chronomancer, but Chronomancer is not as hard to actually do a decent job as on Firebrand. Firebrand, in my opinion, is one of the hardest healers to play, because if you play it incorrectly, just objectively incorrectly, you grieve your group by not providing heals and boons. If you play Chronomancer somewhat decently, you might not be perfect, but you will give enough boons and healing anyway. On a Heal Firebrand, you might not give any boons that are important to your group, or not a lot at least. So that's why I would typically recommend to go with Chronomancer for a lot of people, for exactly that reason. Yeah. What's your top 3 races of the game? So that's a tough question, because I'm not really into fashion. You know, I collect a lot of stuff. I have a lot of skins collected on my account, but I actually don't have any crazy opinion on that. I think I like, for the most part, humans, because the fashion for them are the best, but they are a little bit boring. If you think humans are interesting, I think it's just a human. Yeah, it's not too crazy. For fashion though, they are one of the best that you can imagine, because you have very, very crazy good fitting armors. However, I would say from the design perspective, I really like Savari, because they are really unique. Not a lot of, I don't know. MMOs, RPGs in general have something like that. I think that's really cool. It's really interesting. So I would put them in my top 3. I personally really like Lagos. However, we can't play them. So that's sad. And what else? Probably I would say Human, Lagos, and Sylvaria are my top 3 from a design perspective. I think Asura, I'm indifferent about them. I don't hate them. I don't love them. So I'm a little bit of a weirdo because people always either hate them or love them. But I'm not a big fan of Norn and Char. I think they are too big for my character design. I want to have some kind of elegant and character design. But that's just me. I don't know. That's my opinion on that. What do you think about Healer Willbender? I think it's actually working. I will do an actually Heal Willbender build very soon. I already have the build set up and I will record a video about it very soon. So it's actually working very decently well. I would say in World vs. World everything is working. You can do whatever you like. So the question is, is there some kind of etiquette or something? I would say no. It's World vs. World. It's like war, and you can do whatever you like. There is nothing that is really forbidden. The only thing that I would say is a little bit, let's say, not that nice of you is if you are in this spot seeing someone doing a 1-on-1 or a 10v10, 15v15, don't interact with that, because that's typically the spot where you have people fight in a fair fight using the World vs. World balance. So if you see a 1-on-1 happening here, don't engage this. Everywhere else, you can do whatever you like. It's not really anyone cares. Yeah. I have a question regarding Power Willbender. So Power Willbender, Greatsword is just absolutely broken. So if you don't want to play Greatsword on a Power Willbender, I would say Spear, Sword can work, but Greatsword is just the best option, sadly. Yeah, keep that in mind. But of course you can replace it with Sword, and Spear if you want to. Yeah. It was 2 efficiency, says Warrior is the least played class this month. What does Warrior need to improve their play? I think Warrior needs a major rework. I think Warrior is very niche in terms of its only dealing damage. It doesn't have the Grace support. If you play a support warrior, you only provide healing and alacrity or quickness, but you don't have crazy good utility. You don't really have a crazy good, I don't know. It feels like your stability uptime is not that good. It feels like your just general flexibility is very low. And for the most part, it feels like you are playing a DPS build that provides 1 boon. And that's it. I feel they have to bring back banners maybe to make it more unique. They have to bring back Warrior as some kind of CC machine with still providing a lot of healing. I'm not sure. It's really hard to bring Warrior back. Yeah, I really hope they do, because it feels like it's really lackluster in PvE especially. But I don't know. In pure healing support build for guild content, fractals, dungeon raids, what do you think is the maximum DPS I could do with Firebrand, Chrono, Catalyst, Harbinger? I think Catalyst achieves around 44k, and I think that's possible to achieve. Firebrand is actually really good right now. It's a Condi build, so it's a little bit slower on the burst side, but it's still worthwhile to do. I think Chronomancer is not a very good build that I would play as a DPS build. It's too slow. If you mean how is it called? Boon Chronomancer, it reaches around 36k. Harbinger can be played as a Condi build, reaches 44k or something like that. If you play it as a power build, you reach a similar number just as power. And if you play it as a quickness support, you lose a little bit of DPS. Holy shit. It's insane. Damage. Holy shit. It's absolutely crazy. This guy 1-shots, 2-shots me, even though I am playing a build that has some kind of toughness in there. It's crazy. Yeah, so that would be my... Warrior Spear is cool, yeah, I agree. But sadly, it's not as broken as it was when it was released, and oof. So what? Mid dodge? Did you see that? That hit me mid dodge? What? Crazy. Yeah, Greatsword seems a bit clunky, that's true, but it's the best option at DPS. And one thing that is very important about the DPS on Greatsword is that if this is the enemy and you have melee assistant on, that's also true for a lot of other things, but especially important for, where is it? Melee attack assistant. Uncheck this box. This is so important because it prevents you from moving through the enemy. Why is that important? Because in PvE, if you play Greatsword, for example, on Guardian, you want to stand in the hitbox so that all projectiles of your Greatsword 2 and 5 hit the enemy. If you stand here, the projectiles that go in this direction will not hit the enemy. If you stand in the hitbox, it will hit it. So don't have this checked, because then you can't move in the hitbox and will not get top DPS. So keep that in mind. Heal Berserker is very good. Yeah, Heal Berserker is underrated, I agree, but it's very spammy, and it's also, I feel like it doesn't fit a lot of necessities for a build, you know, as a healer. A healer typically wants to play reactive or proactive, whereas a Heal Berserker typically is not really good at denying damage. They are very better at just providing heals for your group. And typically in Guild Wars 2, it's way better to provide stability, H's and that kind of stuff, to not even, or barrier, to not get your group damaged at all. Heal Berserker can't really do that for the most part. So I feel like it needs a little bit of a help to get a little bit uniquer, to make it more interesting to play. I feel like, yeah. But maybe that's just me, but I feel like it needs some kind of unique feature to actually make it worthwhile. Any tips for not losing clones because enemy dies or on target? I think in competitive modes, you just have to live with that and always look at your clone bar to see if you have the clones up that you need for your burst combo. If you don't, you just have to generate new ones. There is no real way of saying, okay, if I do this, and this trick, there will be more clones. It's sadly not the case. If people focus your clones or if they just die to random damage, so be it. You have to live with that. So you always have to accept the fact and try to work around that. You can't say, I will play especially to create more clones. So that means, for example, if you have mirror images on your bar, I can show you. If you have mirror images on your bar in PvP or World vs. World, that means that if you want to do your shatter combo with mirror images, you should use mirror images just in the second where you shatter. You should not use it like this and then wait and shatter. No, you should use it exactly when you shatter so that it will guarantee to have 2 clones. Something like that, but typically otherwise you can't really do it. I will do a guide on Condi Berserker in the future. I really hope they buff it before I do a guide about it, because I feel like it's a good build that needs a little bit of a help to get a little bit higher on the DPS, maybe a little bit higher in terms of utility, and it will be a really good build. Right now it's a decent build, it has nice DPS, but it's a Condi build, and Condi builds are a little bit, you know, why would you play a Condi build if you can play a power build on 99% of the bosses? So yeah, I don't know. Yes, I agree. I think no downstate is a little bit not for everyone. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, Knigge. It's a German word. I think it's really fun. It's some kind of guide to etiquette. That's how it is. Yeah. Yes, there is a utility skill that lets you refocus your clones, but it's also very interesting. You can also use a weapon skill on Mirage. This one also lets the clones refocus to another target. So this can also be used, of course, that's true. But if you don't have access to that, because it's not on your typical meta build, then you have a problem, because you don't want to equip a skill that lets you refocus, and that's it. Because typically Mesmer has so many good skills that you want to have on your bar, you can't drop one of the really good ones for just a refocus. So typically you want to create a clone, for example, using this one, And then you know when you have this trait here, for example, self-deception or mirage, you can create another clone with your burst. If you do that and your mirror images at the same time and shatter, you will guarantee 3 clones, and then you get a high amount of damage. You know, that's how you typically play this. So you create 3 clones and instantly shatter. You get a 3 clone shatter combo with mirror images and the illusion here, for example. And this is typically how you guarantee to get a lot of clones. It's more like you use them when you need them and you don't create them all the time. So if that makes sense. Yeah. You did mean which class is currently pure heal support build, which will also make the highest DPS out of the healers. Okay. Typically, it's a really annoying answer, but typically healers like Mechanist and Druid have the highest DPS because they have some kind of pet with them that deals damage while you heal. So those have the highest damage output when you are healing, full healing with Harrier Minstrel and stuff, you have the highest DPS. If you want to go some kind of a little bit more aggressive build, like a Celestial build, which provides still a lot of healing and wounds, but also does some nice damage, you would go with either Druid, no, not Druid, maybe Firebrand, you would go with Scourge, and you would go with Spectre. Those 3 are really, really good when you go for a little bit more aggressive Celestial stats and have, let's say, 20k, a little bit roughly DPS, while still having crazy heals. Yes. Welcome, Credit. Welcome, welcome. Would you say a Power Soul Beast is a better side noder than Condisarker? That's a choice, man. Okay, I would say Condisarker is a very good side noder if you know what you're doing and you don't fight, for example, the meta side noders, because they have too many Condi cleanses, you can't fight them. But if you fight against unusual side noders or not builds that are meant for side noding, then you will easily win. Power Soul Beast, I would say, is underrated as a side noder for a lot of people, but it's not a typical side noder because typically you play Untamed, you play Catalyst, and those are just better. So I would say I would go for the Condi Berserker because it's actually quite good if you land your, how's it called? Skull Grinder. If you don't, or if they have too many cleanses, I would go for Power Soul Beast. So it depends a bit on the comp that you face. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we have the feedback here from YouTube that I should make the DPS meter a bit bigger. I could do that. Maybe I should do that, especially in my guides themselves, so make the DPS meter a bit better. But I want to emphasize that the DPS meter is not always the most important thing to look out for. So in my gameplay, if I make the DPS meter like, let's say, big part of my screen, people always look at the DPS meter and think that's what they have to reach. But I feel like a guide is more about learning how the class is played and not really always saying, oh, I have to get this DPS. It's more about understanding how the rotation works, how I should do my skills and stuff. So yes, I think I should do it and make it a little bit bigger. But at the same time, I think I really don't want to get the focus on those DPS numbers. It's more about learning the build when I use my skills, for example, that I sometimes use delay skills, sometimes use CC skills to get the CC break bar and stuff going. So it's more about the gameplay that I show than my real DPS numbers. But of course, you are correct. The DPS numbers is obviously what a lot of people think. Yeah. Yeah, I think it makes sense. Good point. I will try to do that in the next videos. Yeah, good point. Thanks for the feedback. Condi Soul Beast is probably a better side note than a Power Soul Beast. Yes, that's correct, Laura. I think that's definitely what you would play. If you really want to play Soul Beast, I would play a Condi Soul Beast on the side note right now. Yeah. But that's, I think side note is weird right now. A lot of people play some really tanky stuff on the side note, which is not really what you want to have for the most part. I don't like a meta about tanky side noders. I feel like tanky side noders are one of the worst things to have because that makes the match very slow and it's just no one enjoys having a one-on-one that goes for 10 minutes. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe there are some people that enjoy it, but I don't know. I feel like this is just too, you play so much for, I don't know, nothing. There is nothing happening. I don't like that. So I feel like bunker DH, some kind of bunker warriors. There is all types of stuff that is actually being played at the side node right now, and I feel like most of the builds are not that fun. One of the best builds at side node right now is Dagger Catalyst. This is really, really good right now. But not a lot of people actually on EU actually play it. I don't know why, but even though it's really, really good. And a lot of people play, of course, Revenant, Renegade, Herald, all of those builds. They're absolutely broken. Yeah. I would say Soul Beast is SB and Spellbreaker is SPB. So you would add a P in the abbreviation of the word to actually make sure that people understand that it's Spellbreaker, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I think Spellbreaker is stronger for the most part in 101s if you know what you're doing. Because Spellbreaker can deal with power damage and actually apply a lot of counter pressure. I feel like Berserker has a big problem if they have cleanses, because if they have cleanses, you can play as good as you want, you will not kill them. If you play a power Spellbreaker, you actually kill them. Yeah. I don't know. I think that's something that you should keep in mind. I think counter pressuring on power Spellbreaker is easier than on Berserker. That's why I would say it's better right now, because a lot of people need to be counter pressured to actually kill them. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. If you like numbers, I think it's fair. I think it's totally fair if you want to analyze the numbers. It's a valid criticism, and I really like to improve my content, so I think I will do that. Yeah, I think I will try to improve my visibility and also maybe just the size of the numbers so that people actually can also compare stuff to it. I think it's actually, if my honest opinion on that is, it's really good if you compare yourself to numbers, especially when it comes to benchmarking, because in the benchmark you should achieve the same number. So if someone reaches 45k on a benchmark with the same gear as you should aim for the same number. But in a real fight, there are so many different things that can influence your number that you should not compare yourself, even if you're using the exact same gear. Sometimes the support is different. Sometimes you have, I don't know, just someone that is not doing the mechanic correctly or whatever. So there is always something that can influence the DPS. But on a benchmark, it's very good to compare numbers, because that's the only place where you can actually be sure that it's you that is the problem. So very, very good. Thanks for the follow, by the way, Julie and Joby. Really appreciate it. And I guess I got bonked by Seagull. Thanks for that. Yeah. Yes, welcome to Mixer, welcome. Yeah, I mean, I already prepared my giveaway, so I have some Mystic coins prepared here. And like I said, I will do the giveaway as soon as I reach 5k subs. To celebrate this 5k sub event will probably happen today, tomorrow, somewhere in this week. And I will post a video to all the people that are interested in participating. Just join the giveaway. Currently, there is no giveaway going. Please don't spam giveaway on the chat. There is no giveaway going. It will open as soon as I have 5k subs on my YouTube channel, so be sure to watch that. To watch out for that and watch the video. But that's about it. You can win 1 stack of Mystic coins each. So we have 4 winners. So keep that in mind. Yeah, I think it's really nice that you like my videos. And it's one of the goals of my videos is always to showcase different builds for people that might not play the specific class and see, oh, this build is a nice build. I did not see that one coming, and they want to try it out then. I think that's something really cool, and it hypes you for a game that you played for years maybe already to play another type of content, maybe with a different build, the same content, whatever. I think that's really cool. Just to have you hyped for the same game, for the same content. I think that's win-win for everyone. Yeah. For example, I look bad with 70% boon uptime as a quick DPS, but my Untamed only delivers the boon when he is rotating. So exactly when we all need it, and my damage is often 3k higher than the median of normal DPS, which is just a blessing you can get from a booner. And I really like it that you put your benchmarks into the context. DPS is not everything. Yes, that's very important. I think the DPS is so overrated in the Guild Wars 2 community. Always people say, you have to play the highest DPS. That's not true. You have to play the build that is for you, fitting to your playstyle while doing your job. So if you are playing a healer, you want to help a healer that provides quickness or alacrity while still providing a lot of heals. You would never say, I play a quickness DPS and I reach 40k DPS, but I only have 50% quickness uptime. Yeah, it's just bullshit. You want to have someone that provides the role that they fill and then do as much other stuff as they can. So if you have a quickness DPS that provides 100% quickness, I don't care if they have 25k DPS or 35k. Yes, of course, I would rather have someone with 35k, but if they provide 100% quickness and they reach 25k DPS, I'm happy, you know, get my boon. So it's really important that people understand that DPS, yes, nice and good, but it's more about what role do you fill, how do you fill the role, how can you make it work in a lot of scenarios and help your group. You know, Guild Wars 2 in instant content for the most part is some kind of team effort, and you want to fill your role for the maximum and not grieve your group by saying, no, my DPS is good, why is your DPS bad? That's not good. Yeah. Yeah, glad you like my honesty. I'm an honest person, and sometimes it's not really, people don't want to hear it, but I think it's important that someone mentions it. Yeah. Yeah, switching your class every week. I guess that's exactly what I do. So now you're welcome to the club, I guess. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't have to be honest, I'm played Guild Wars 2 for way too much, so I have so much gold that I just get passively, and I think giving it back to my people that to support me on my channel and stuff, it's just something that seems fitting. So that's what it is. I don't want to challenge anyone to give away gold and stuff. I think that's not the right thing to do. I think giving gold to people that appreciate your content, I think that seems very nice. I think that it's just, that's not a generous gesture, it's just a gesture that makes sense in my opinion. Yeah. Yeah, I think the DPS on the benchmark on the golem, you should look at it and see, okay, that's how you should do your rotation in a perfect scenario. And that's what you should improve on. You should start on the golem and say, okay, I want to reach my highest number possible. Because if I reach only 80% of the benchmark, let's say only 60% of the benchmark on the golem, how are you supposed to reach a higher number in a real fight? It's impossible. So that means you always have to start on the golem, try to improve your rotation, and get to 80-90% of the benchmark with the correct gear, and you will be golden. You don't have to reach 100%. It's more about getting to understand how the rotation works, and that's it. It's really important. I really want to mention that. 4 people getting more DPS is more valuable than 1 person having more. Yes, and that's the important part, EchoFox. The DPS, the quick DPS, for example, provides a 50% DPS boost to not only himself or themselves, but also to the 4 other people in the subgroup. 50% DPS boost. That's insane. So think about it. 5k more DPS on yourself, but a 50% DPS uptime or 50% quickness uptime, it's very bad. Having a 50% DPS buff 100% of the time is way better than having a little bit more DPS on yourself. It's really, really important. Yeah. 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 Yeah, glad you like my mentality. I think it's really important that you, especially if you're a content creator, you should have nice mentality and provide some kind of really nice honesty to people. Because if you say this is toxic and you behave toxic and you just want to have some rude comments and stuff about other people that are worse than you at the game, I think that's not a good thing. You should always help people understand why I criticize, for example, a bad DPS, quick DPS, because they don't have the highest amount of quickness uptime. I'm not toxic to them. I'm just saying they don't fill their role and they should improve on that. Yeah? I don't want to be mean or anything against them. I just want to say this is a problem. They have to solve it because that's not something that they should have so little amount of DPS or quickness uptime for sure. Yeah. I have one thing to say about your video build as a new player. When show your build, try to show it on a build maker for ascended gear. It's not easy to see on your legend gear, maybe a little bit on the thing is, legendary gear and ascended gear is exactly the same stats, so I can see why you would say I want to see the real name of the item, but I always tell you the armor, for example, is Berserker. You use the rune of the Dragon Hunter. If you see what I'm showing, so I tell you Berserker, I tell you Dragon Hunter rune, you can look for the Ascended gear in your bank that has Berserker stats. In your, wherever you have your gear, you can look on the trading post for the Dragon Hunter rune, yeah? So, stuff like that. You can just look for that and you will find it, you know? You can look here, Superior Rune of the Dragon Hunter, buy it. You're golden. And you can continue with that. Yes, I see your criticism there, but it's really hard in Guild Wars 2 to actually, for me, to always equip Ascended gear, and always showing the build maker is, in the video itself, is a little bit annoying, because I feel like the video is supposed to be about Guild Wars 2, not about some website. But because of that, I always post my build link in my video description. Under every single video, there is a link where there is to a website where there is the build listed with Ascended gear, where you can see the different items, what kind of stats they have, and you don't have to, so to say, re-watch the whole video to watch every single piece that I show. You can just go to the build website and you will be fine. But I get your comment. Just try it out next time when you have a build that I want to see. Just in the description, there is the link to this thing. Yes, Herald is currently one of the worst quick DPS in terms of DPS, but it has a very nice amount of utility in the kit, and it's, I would say, quite easy to play. So for the most part, I would say I would rather have a quick DPS Herald that gives me, let's say, 100% quickness uptime and has, I don't know, 20k DPS, than having some kind of really broken DPS build like a quickness cutter that reaches 38k DPS on the benchmark, but the person doesn't provide that much quickness, and I will struggle anyway as a DPS to get higher DPS than them because they don't provide quickness. That's really annoying, yeah. And so I think having people that understand DPS is not everything, especially on the supports, this is way more important, in my opinion, to emphasize this on my stream. Which quick DPS would you recommend? I've been playing Soul Beast mostly. I mean, Soul Beast doesn't provide quickness, sadly. So as a quick DPS, I would recommend Chronomancer if you want to have a challenge to some extent, because Chronomancer is so good in terms of quick DPS, because if you can easily swap, for example, to Alacrity if you want, just switching one trait, everything else is the same, and you have 3 full utility slots that you can swap. You can go for Reflex, you can go for Portals, you can go for Boon Removal, for CC, for Stability. You have so many options. That's why it's so flexible, but it's a little bit harder to learn. If it's just for quickness uptime, Quickness Herald is really good, and what is also very good as a quickness DPS, Quickness Catalyst, if you can play it, is really good because it has a lot of DPS. Quickness Berserker is also really good because it has a lot of DPS. The flexibility is a little bit low. And Quickness Deadeye is probably the easiest quickness build to play. It's just 2 buttons that you need to press. I have a guide on my YouTube channel that showcases exactly this build. Doesn't have the highest damage, but it's absolutely insane how easy it is to play. So those 3 builds I would recommend, or 4. Welcome, Snowdrop. Are you awake now? Welcome, welcome. Some builds you have are sometimes 2 different items like Berserker and Dragons. That is my point, but I still like your videos. Okay, I mean, that's exactly the reason why I post the link in the video, because it's exactly showcasing the different gear slots that have different items on there. So if I have one item that is Berserker and I have another item like here that is Assassin, I showcase this in the build link in the website. So you can easily see that without rewatching my video. You can just watch it on the website. I'm not completely sure what the problem is, why you can't see that or why you don't see that, but I don't know. I feel like this is, for me, I really try to make it clear so that you can easily copy and paste the build without thinking too much. But of course, I get a lot of comments, or some comments, that talk about they only have exotic gear. Yes, that's obviously a really hard point for me. I can't always min-max exotic gear as well, because I would say a lot of people in the Guild Wars 2 community already have Ascended gear. So making another build min-maxed with the crit chance and stuff for exotic gear is somewhat unnecessary. If you really need to do that, I guess you have to do it yourself. Just get to 100% crit rate with Fury and the buffs that you get, but most of the time ascended gear and should be easily enough achievable. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's fair. If you don't like the Revenant, you can of course go for the other ones. It's always, there's so many options in Guild Wars 2 for just playing a specific role. There are so many options. Every class can fill every role at this point. Maybe except Heal Harbinger. Yes. Would you say Engineer is good all-rounder class? In PvE, very much so. In competitive modes, not at all. It's a really big split. In competitive modes, Engineer is played as some kind of either full DPS or some kind of full support in World vs. World. But only there it works. In PvE, it can fill a support role, it can fill a hybrid role, it can fill a crazy power DPS role, it can fill a crazy Condi DPS role, it has crazy range damage. It's extremely strong as a solo build as well. So there are Engineers are absolutely overloaded in PvE. But in competitive modes, I would say Engineer it's not as good. It's very specific what it can do. Yeah. Now you see it. Very good. Very good. That's what I meant. Yeah, I was really surprised that you couldn't see it on the website, because I feel like, yes, I get the comment why you would say in the gear here, in the green gear screen on Guild Wars 2, it's a little bit difficult to see. If that is Assassin and this is Berserker, yes. But on the website, you can easily see it. It's really easy to see on the Guild Wars 2 skills website. That's why I always put the link in the description. Thanks for the follow, Chang, Undead, and Diddy. Really appreciate it. And Tommy as well. What about doing a cheat sheet and link it in the description? One that says Berserker, Social, Exotic, name. Maybe that would help new people. That's a good point. Let me write that down. That's a very good point. Maybe I should add that. Build, guys. So Undead, Unload Deadeye, and what else? Maybe Quickness DPS Herald, maybe Quickness Chrono. Those builds I would recommend to start out. I would not start with a Quickness Harbinger. I think this is a little bit challenging. Yeah. Yeah, I think Reaper is a really good class to start out. I think Reaper to main is one of the best classes. It's really good. It's really tanky, really nice damage. Has a crazy good solo build. It's really useful in all the game modes. It's really good. So use that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Untamed is a really underrated quickness DPS. It's really, really good how much quickness you can provide to your group. If people don't accept that, then they are just illusional. That's just the truth. Reaper, you can play as Power or Condi. Both of them are really good. I would say in competitive modes, Condi is better, but in PvE, both of them are really good. They have both their scenarios where you can pick them. Actually, in most scenarios, they are both actually quite decent. Typically, Power is better in most content just because fights might be short and Power just deals damage directly, while Condi needs some kind of ramp up. But it's still worth it to go for Condi anyway. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's completely delusional if you have some boon DPS that reaches every time in every single fight 100% uptime. It's just not possible for most, especially if you have some downtimes. If you play Quickness Chronomancer, for example, you need a target. So if you don't have a target because of some phases and vulnerability bosses and stuff, it's impossible for you to generate quickness 100% of the time. So if people expect you to have 100% time, especially in fractals and stuff, it's just delusional. But of course, you should reach numbers that are really important when you fight. You should not say, okay, I have 40% quickness uptime. It's because of my build. Yeah, maybe you should improve your build then. Yeah, because 40% is too low. But if you reach over 90%, I would say it's quite common. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. But exotic for me, it's really. I feel like if people don't have Ascended Gear yet, then you should work towards Ascended Gear as soon as possible. So making a guide about exotics is, yes, I see why people would need it, but at the same time, it's not a big change. The only thing that really matters for you is getting the crit cap up. But other than that, everything else, especially on Conny builds, you would probably go for exactly the same equipment just with exotic. Yeah. Yeah. Good Alacrity build for beginners, Alacrity Power Rival Mech. So if you want to play that build, I will release a build guide about it, I think this week. So be sure to check it out. It's really easy. It's really 33k DPS while being 100% ranged, mostly auto tech, still having 100% Alacrity uptime. It's really good. So really broken build for beginners. Yeah. Yeah, Power Reaper is really fun. I can agree. Yeah. Yeah. There are a lot of differences when it comes to quickness DPS. Some are really good, some have bad quickness uptime, some have bad DPS. Most of the time you have people with bad DPS and bad uptime in pucks, so I guess that's how it goes. But yeah, because I had actually a condition quickness herald in my group last time, and they didn't even reach numbers over 60%. Yup, that's what you like to see when a herald doesn't reach numbers over 60% of quickness DPS uptime. I don't know what's actually happening, if they fall asleep or something. A little bit crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I think exotics are, it's just outdated at this point. You know, you get half of the Ascended stuff from the Wizard's Vault already. So even new players will get so much Ascended stuff from the Wizard's Vault that at this point going for making exotic guides is like people will watch it, that start out the game, and after, let's say, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks of playing, they already are using Ascended Gear. So I don't know. Yeah. The giveaway will be happen on my YouTube channel very soon, but not today. Yeah, Alacrity Revenant is actually surprisingly easy to play. You just press one button and you have permanent quickness if you position yourself correctly. Yeah. I think there's some good potential for Soul Beast Vindicator power solo builds. Yeah, it's true. I think I really think the numbers changes to power Vindicator are actually helping a solo build very, very high. But I think Vindicator struggles a bit in terms of just general maybe protection uptime. I'm not sure what can you do for the protection, because I feel like a solo build without protection on a full Berserker is very squishy. Soul Beast doesn't have that problem. You take more stuns and you will be fine. But Vindicator? Maybe. What class is best for quick DPS? What's the best class for quick DPS? It depends what you mean by quick, but best class for quick DPS. I personally think the most versatile class is Chronomancer. If it comes to most DPS, I would probably go for Catalyst. If you want the most safe class, you would go for Herald. If you want the easiest class to perform on, you would go Quickness, Unload, Deadeye. So it's always dependent a bit on what kind of class, what you mean with big numbers, best class, whatever. It's always dependent on what kind of player you are. Are you a tryhard player? You want to see the big damage numbers, or do you want the easiest class to perform on? So yeah. What changes do you think they should do to make Mechanist viable for PvP? I have to be honest, I think to make Mechanist viable, they would have to make it a little bit more so that you can more control it, where it moves, what it does. But at the same time, I feel like they shouldn't do that, because it feels like you already have so much agency given over to the pet that you lose so much. You know, at some point you kill the pet and you are completely useless. And I feel like that's not that shouldn't be the case. I'm not sure if Mechanist should be playable in PvP at all. It's the same for Scourge. I feel like those two specs are just inherently toxic if they are viable. because a Scorch, for example, covers the whole point with their shade skills. So how can you dodge that? How can you deny that? Not really. And Mechanist, if Mechanist is viable, and then your mech is just really annoying everyone, and either it's unkillable or it's absolutely dead all the time. So I feel like there is not really a middle spot between when it's actually fine. I feel like it's really hard to balance Mechanist to be somewhat useful. It's the same with Minion Monster. Either Minion Monster is completely dog shit, or they buff the damage numbers or the health numbers of the minions so high that it's absolutely crazy how you can kill them. So I feel like it should not be played, in my opinion, just because of that. Yeah. Yes, I think this is a big thing that is underrated by a lot of people, is that if you have classes that can provide quickness and alacrity without having a target, so when you have downtime, then I think they have a really big advantage, for example, in fractals, in fights that have phases. I feel like this should be honored in some kind of thing, that they have maybe lower DPS, have some kind of punishment otherwise, because that's something that, for example, a Chronomancer struggles highly with. So even a heal Chronomancer might not be able to upkeep quickness on some fights because they don't have a target for some extent of the fight. So I feel like they should be rewarded for playing a build that is a little bit harder to upkeep the quickness with more utility, more DPS, whatever. And builds that can upkeep it without having a target should be punished a bit, because that's the same thing, the same reasoning, that ranged DPS builds should have lower DPS because they are ranged. A melee build can upkeep their DPS only in melee, so they should be rewarded with more DPS if they can stay melee. Yeah, so I think that's how it should be balanced. It's not how they balance it, but that's how they should balance it. Thanks for the Prime, Jesus. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the support. And also thanks a lot for the follow, Slifer. Yeah. I mean, typically, yes, you play Alacrity Heal and you play Quickness DPS, but nowadays it's not that clear anymore. You can play easily Elect DPS and Quickness Heal. It depends more on the setup of your squad. I feel like a lot of people always think Alacrity Heal is better, but it's not really the case anymore. It depends on which kind of scenario you are. Sometimes a Quickness Heal can be very worthwhile to run as well. So for example, if you go for a Quickness Heal, you can run an Alacrity DPS that provides maybe some kind of other utility. Sometimes you want to have a Spectre as an Alacrity DPS, because a Spectre in Fractals, for example, in Condi fights is absolutely insane how much damage they can put out. So that can be really worthwhile considering. But of course, you have to think about it, you know. For example, Quickness Firebrand in Fractals is extremely strong because it can provide H's and stability. And if you pair that with an Alacrity DPS like a Renegade that has crazy good burst damage and can pre-stack Alacrity, it's a very beautiful combo. But that doesn't matter in raids and strikes that much, so you will not go for that in strikes and raids. So it's always a little bit dependent on the situation. Yeah, keep that in mind. Quickness Heal Scrub, I'm sure. The 0 DPS, the legendary 0 DPS Quickness Heal Scrapper. Maybe I have to do a build guide about that. I mean, people, there are some comments under my YouTube videos that always say Quickness Heal Scrapper, that's the biggest goat ever. It's the best quickness build that you can play as a healer. Maybe I have to try it, you know. It seems like it's a very nice build to play. Yeah, it provides a lot of healing, I think. Yeah, I think in short you can say Guild Wars 2 has a lot of variety. People should choose what they have the most fun with. Definitely. I think that's a very good summary. It's a very nice comment, definitely. Yeah, I can only agree with that one. Yeah. Which is obviously very good for a game to have variety, because that means all types of players will enjoy the game. And that's what you want. And I hope that new players also see that variety as well. That's why I always try to do a lot of build guides, a lot of stuff about different classes, play them on stream, showcase them, because that's what is actually the game about. Trying out different things, having fun, enjoying the game for what it actually provides you with. And not playing a single class, only a single build all the time. That can be fun as well, don't get me wrong, but everyone should play what they like, you know. If someone enjoys to play a heal Spectre, let them, you know. even though it might not be considered a meta pick. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. There are a lot of interesting facts there. So I think that's also the time to end this stream today. So I hope you enjoyed it. It was really fun. I had a blast. We will see each other tomorrow, I hope. I will do another stream tomorrow again. And don't forget to check out my YouTube channel where I post a video about this giveaway that's upcoming. So really be sure to check it out. You want to not miss out on the giveaway of 2000 gold. So be sure to check that out. But today, it's the end of the stream. Thanks a lot for watching. Really appreciate all the follows and subs and all your support. And yeah, hope to see you around. Thanks a lot for watching. See you guys.